Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiafalo and Brian Broaddus.
It is a must-win Sunday night here at AT&T Stadium for your Cowboys. Cowboys taking on the Vikings, and we are locked and loaded here on your Cowboys pregame show. 3 hours and 17 minutes to kick off. I'm Eric Chiafalo alongside the Super Bowl champion, Brian Broaddus. You got that grin on your face. You know this is must-win time.
Yeah, but
I'm not talking out of turn here.
I think I'm a little disappointed, though, in you.
Oh, you needed more creativity?
Yeah, I needed a little bit more. It's kind of like you order cheesecake after a big meal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's
kind of
a little lazy, isn't it?
Yeah, we got a tomahawk chop, and then all of a sudden, then now you're going to order the cheesecake instead of going to cream brulee or, bananas Foster or something,
Baked Alaska.
Something big time. But you just went ahead and followed up the $185 steak with a piece of cheesecake. I'm a little disappointed.
I'm sorry about that.
I'm a little disappointed in you today.
Well, that's where they played themselves. I mean, that should pack a punch. Okay,
I think they've been playing must-win games for the last month. Myself.
Yeah. Well, I
know last week, against Detroit. I mean, every game since the trade deadline, I felt like with the way things have gone that they've got to find a way to win.
Playoff-type desperation.
And that's the things that kind of makes your team battle-tested. I've used that phrase again. It's like the second time I've used it here today. But a battle-tested team, it's unfortunate that they didn't get their defensive help early enough, but they didn't, but the quarterback's been playing well, receivers playing well, you got a running game. Be a challenge tonight, though, Eric. It will be a challenge with a team that themselves is offensively challenged because of their quarterback, but defensively they will give you everything and more.
Yeah, let's start with the star of the show tonight, which is going to be strength on strength. Cowboys offense versus this Vikings defense. Brian Flores, one of the best defensive coordinators in all of the NFL, calling the shots there for the Vikings defense, and they really throw the kitchen sink at you. I don't know if there's another defense in the league that comes anywhere close to the way that Brian Flores likes to scheme things up here. They got a lot of veterans on that team, and it'll be a big challenge for Dak Prescott and this offensive line. Thank God they get this game at home because something happens to this Cowboys offense when they get on the road and the crowd gets into the game and there's miscommunication and they're just sort of a note off on everything. But when they're at home, they are a different
kind of find a way to get it done, don't they?
Usually they do, unless they're playing the Cardinals.
Yeah.
They pretty much find a way to get it done. 4-1-1 at home, 6-6-1 on the season for the Cowboys. So let's go ahead and get into that side of the matchup first. When the Cowboys have the ball, what is the plan here?
Well, the plan is to maybe drop back 10 yards, dig a ditch, and try and save the equipment. No, that's really not the plan.
I think that's the Vikings plan.
That's the Viking plan for sure. I think when you look at it with the Cowboys, you have a veteran quarterback in Dak Prescott. There's a lot of things that teams have tried to do to Dak Prescott in the past. Teams, maybe when they play zone coverage, when they drop more into coverage, that tends to be one of those things that gives Dak a little bit of some problems or some issues. When it turns into man coverage and tight window throws and reading things, Dak is one of the better ones you have in the league. Mm-hmm. He is his ability to navigate, to get his guys in the right situation, to be able to have it blocked up. The thing he has going for him tonight is the fact that he has one of the best running backs in the league when it comes to blitz pickup stuff in Williams. I think Williams is outstanding. I know last week against Detroit there was a sack, but overall, if you look at the number of blitz pickups and the number of touchdowns and the number of big throws that Dak Prescott has made this year, a lot of it has to do with what Williams sliding over, picking somebody up. This is going to be one of those games tonight that's going to challenge the offensive line. It's going to challenge the quarterback. It's going to challenge the running back. It's going to challenge the receivers as well to where, okay, you can't be thinking about your routes and maybe extending these routes any longer than, a lot was made about George Pickens, the way he ran routes against Detroit. That's just if you watch the Cowboys enough and you see George Pickens on the All-22, that's how George Pickens' pace is. That's how he plays. But you got Lamb, you got Ferguson, you got Flournoy. It's going to be about, can you pick up and navigate when all of a sudden Brian Flores is going to show a blitz, he drops guys, and then the blitz comes from another area. Or you think like, okay, I'm going to get A-gap blitz. Oh, wait a minute, A-gap blitz drops. Now we got from the outside, or C-gap or outside, a wide 9 kind of a blitz going on there. So there's just so many challenges to having to deal with Minnesota's defense from that aspect that they're going to make you think about, okay, is my protection right? There might be some free rushers tonight that Dak Prescott's going to have to deal with.
No question. I think that's where you start here when you're looking at Cowboys' keys to success offensively, being able to handle the blitz packages that Brian Flores is going to throw at you.
Don't get behind the chains is another thing, because they'll blitz you on second down. If they can't create a negative play on first down, they'll blitz you again on second down and try and create another negative play.
Number 2 would be, can you get this running game going in a way that you have not been able to do in quite some time now?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that Malik Davis big run versus the Chiefs, these numbers would look even worse. But like from a success rate standpoint, just staying ahead of the sticks, getting that 4 to 6 yards with Javonte Williams, it has not been there. And if they can do that tonight, that'll go a long way in sort of staving off some of that pressure for sure. And then can you punch it in the red zone? The Vikings red zone defense, 3rd in the league.
Yeah.
They are really, really good at not giving up touchdowns once you get in there, and we've seen the Cowboys have their red zone fits a little bit. They're kind of middle in the pack on the season in terms of punching it in for touchdowns. So hopefully this is not some back-and-forth field goal kind of game.
No, I just feel like this is going to be a tight game. And even with their quarterback situation, the one thing the Vikings can do is, now the Vikings have had games where they've shut out somebody, and then the week before they get shut out. They've had some of these games where
their last 2 games.
Yeah, it's crazy how things have kind of played, but their defense will play well enough to hold them in games. Their defense, and that's what they got to hope for tonight. That all of a sudden that J.J. McCarthy can find some of that a little bit of that success he had against the Commanders. We talked about the Commanders' defense not being great. Dallas's defense at times has not been great either. So, this game could very well come down to something at the very end, where Dallas having to maybe drive the ball and to get into field goal range for something.
So when we talk about this Vikings defense, Broadus, I think it obviously starts with the scheme and Brian Flores. He's really the face of this whole operation. Oftentimes when you're going up against different teams, it's about the individual player. Oh, they have a Myles Garrett. They have this guy who's a star, and you have to contain him. But who are the individual players on this Vikings defense that you're sort of circling here at any of the levels that you're saying, okay, this guy's, he's the real deal?
Well, this is going to sound crazy because this is a defense that has a Jonathan Allen on it. And we all know from the days of the Commanders with Jonathan Allen, we all know Javen Hargrave. We know about him and where he's where he's been, from the 49ers and stuff like that. I'll tell you, they got a couple. This Eric Wilson that they got from Green Bay, and then they also got Jalen Redmond, a defensive end. They play a 3-4 front, so all of a sudden you see him wide outside. You'll see him down inside over the guards. They've got some guys that can absolutely up front give you some problems.
Okay, right? Eric Wilson at linebacker and Redmond on the defensive line.
Right, and I know I can say there's like Jonathan Allen's there and Hargrave's there, and they've got some guys that way. Van Ginkel is a guy I know you're from your days in Miami, or not days in Miami, but as a Miami Dolphin watcher.
Yeah,
you know the story of Van Ginkel.
Hey, he's frisky, man. You want to try and throw a screen to his side? Like I would just have that. Like I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
he just did it again last week. He'll intercept a screen ball right there at the line of scrimmage, and he's literally made a living doing that. Like that is his superpower. Yeah. Van Ginkel with the long blonde hair, repping that number 43. He will get after you, and so that even just that little chess match right there. If they're going to try and mess around with some screenplay stuff like Dak and Van Ginkel, you've seen seen, I think it may have been Sam Darnold a few weeks ago, who kind of did a pump fake on the screen and got him jumping before he actually threw it.
Right.
But, I mean, that's something you actually have to be intentional about because Van Ginkel will pop up in there.
I think Dallas is going to need to have some type of screen package tonight.
Okay. With all the blitzes. Yeah.
Yeah, and whether it's the wide receiver or the back screens or tight end screens, I think Dallas is going to have to try and find a way to get the ball outside in some space with the way that the Vikings like to blitz. But those are the guys, like I said, I loved watching Redmond's film. He's number 61. He's a guy that at the line when they run
weird number.
Yeah, when you run the football, he's one of these guys that's kind of like throwing blockers aside. He's a powerful guy. He can push the pocket. He can rush off the edge. There's a lot to like about his game with the physicality that he plays with.
And Jonathan Grenard, I mean, he's a guy that had 12 sacks last year. His sack numbers aren't quite the same this year, but anytime I watch him play, like he's still an impact player.
He still is.
Off the edge. Terrence Steele get a healthy helping of him
Dallas
tonight.
Turner was a first-round pick for them in the 24 draft. Didn't really do much last year, but he's kind of showing some promise. They've got several of their defensive linemen and linebackers that have double-digit pressures this year. And that just shows you from all the coordinated blitz and a lot of free rushers. Got to get ready for both things tonight.
Okay, how about the Cowboys defensively going up against this Vikings offense that has been a turnover monster this year? They have struggled in a big way. They are off their best game of the season versus the Commanders, and the Commanders' defense is about as bad as it gets right now. But you still have Justin Jefferson, you got Jordan Addison, you got T.J. Hawkinson, you got Aaron Jones, who Cowboys fans unfortunately know all too well.
Jordan Mason, too.
Yeah, and Jordan Mason, they kind of like split it up there a little bit, but Aaron Jones is a guy who I think out of the backfield, maybe not so much on the ground, but out of the backfield, not to the same extent of like a Jameer Gibbs, but Aaron Jones catching balls out of the backfield, trying to make guys miss, that's going to be a problem.
That's a problem because we've seen Dallas, and here are Week 15, Dallas playing passes in the flats has not been good. It just hasn't. I mean, we've seen teams, whether it's screen packages, swing packages, ball out in the flat, it seems like, oh, here it goes, back with a head of steam, 15 yards. So, yeah, you're absolutely right about with Jones. And then, like I say, both these guys, what I would call are track runners. And when I mean track is when like a train track, when they're on that train track, that's kind of where they're going. They're not really like, it's not a lot of elusive.
Stop and go back.
Yeah, it's not with what you were doing with Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs.
These guys are track runners. They'll try and get the ball on the outside. They'll try and get around the corner. They'll try and run it inside. They're going to try and run downhill at you a little bit. But that's what you got. But if I'm Dallas and I saw last week what Detroit, if I'm Minnesota, I saw what Detroit did to you. Well, really, everybody that's played you throwing the ball in the flat, I wouldn't surprised to see these backs have some success tonight.
Did your stomach hurt watching J.J. McCarthy play football?
I liked J.J. McCarthy coming out of Michigan. I really did. And I thought, here's a tough guy. Here's a winner, guy that's a leader, and then he got hurt and he lost his but they're clearly a different team. You go back and you talk about with Sam Darnold at quarterback play, and they've kind of gone through it this year with McCarthy and Carson Wentz and stuff like that. So it hasn't been great. McCarthy is the ball is going to go down the field. Trust me on that. The ball will go down the field. How accurate can he be? That's the big, because there's times when you watch them with the routes that they run and you see Jefferson down the field, you see Hawkinson down in the field, and McCarthy eye level comes down and then he tries to run or runs into a sack, or he just completely misses the receiver or the tight end because of lack of accuracy.
Yeah, his bad throw percentage is at tops in the league.
Yeah.
His turnover percentage,
hitting open receivers.
Yeah, he's really, really struggled. He will take sacks at a ridiculous rate. So Cowboys pass rush, get after him tonight. Hopefully for sure. And I think the number that stands out to me the most in regards to J.J. McCarthy is just looking at Justin Jefferson's numbers. I mean, he hasn't scored a touchdown since November 2nd. He has 2 touchdowns all season after being a double-digit touchdown monster. And if you can't get Justin Jefferson going, man, I mean that should be the ultimate security blanket for any quarterback. But even J.J. McCarthy can't really get things going there with the best wide receiver in the league. So I like the Cowboys' chances defensively tonight. And let's go ahead and take a look at that defense as we continue to count down to kickoff. Just over 3 hours, Sunday Night Football here at AT&T Stadium with the Vikings in town. Let's hear from a man that we hope to see a little bit more of tonight, Logan Wilson, and we'll welcome in NBC's Melissa Stark as well. That's all coming up next on your Cowboys pregame show, next right here on The Fan.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at Take 5 Oil Change. Just wear your Cowboys gear and save 25% on your oil change. No huddle, no overtime. Just...
here the other day, and I think it's been about 5 weeks since including the bye week, that I've been here already. So it goes by fast.
So you're getting kind of situated and comfortable. How do you like the team itself? Talk about the personality of the team or the culture.
Yeah, the culture's been really good. The guys have been very welcoming to me, especially the linebackers in the linebacker room. They've helped me learn this defense. I'm continuing to learn this defense, but I'm happy to be here.
You mentioned learning the defense because you were saying, like, day one you first got here, you're like, okay, I got to learn it. I'm going to pick it up. Right now I'm kind of freelancing a little bit. So you're picking up different parts of it, but you're feeling comfortable out there because you're a veteran.
Yeah, I'm starting to get more comfortable. I think it's just the more reps you get, the more comfortable you get. And then there's going to be new things within the defensive game plan on a week-to-week basis, and so just learning those things each week and staying on top of it.
Okay, you guys have the Vikings tonight. Give me a scouting report on that Viking offense. What are you expecting to see tonight?
I mean, they're going to definitely try to run the ball, and obviously that opens up play action, which is what they want to do. Obviously McCarthy's coming off a really, really good game last week, and so he's looking to build off that, and he's got his confidence, and so we got to make sure that we stop the run and force them to beat us with the pass.
Okay, on a typical night game, what's your routine? Do you get to the stadium a little earlier? Do you eat a certain thing, superstitious, spend time with the family, talk on the phone? Tell me how you killed the whole day.
I honestly just try to spend time with the family, early in the morning, or if we have meetings or whatever, basically tidy up everything, make sure I'm good with the game plan and whatnot, and then just kind of chill and ease my mind off of football, just so that you're not thinking about it, burning that nervous energy all day. I don't like to do that to myself, so I just like to spend time with family.
If there's one thing you want people, Dallas Cowboy fans, to know about you, what would that be?
An interesting fact?
Yeah, a little interesting fact.
Interesting fact about me was that I think I'm still the only high school football player in Wyoming that was all-state at 4 positions. I was a all-state wide receiver, defensive back, kicker, and a punter.
Look out, so you can kick if you have to.
I can be the emergency guy if we need to.
That's good to know. Good luck tonight, man.
Thank you.
How about that? The versatility there from Logan Wilson. He's an absolute monster. If we need a little punt action, I mean, Swiss
he's no
Army
Jeff Heath, though.
He's no Jeff Heath. He is no Jeff.
No,
Heath.
hey, that's great though. Wyoming, a beautiful state. Beautiful state. Been there one time. Got my ass kicked in Wyoming one time.
Did you?
Yeah, went up there with a TCU football team.
Oh,
it was not good.
Not good at all.
No, I mean, we played good for a half, and then the second half we played like trash.
Bunch of blue-collar industry workers.
Hey, you know what? You guys used to get on me all the time about why I like Josh Allen so much, and then oh no, he can't do this, he can't do that. And I'm like, bro, he's throwing to a cattle rancher. Come on, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
I mean, he's throwing to an accountant, a cattle rancher, a pharmacist. My guy's just slinging it.
Maybe 1 or 2 UDFAs.
Exactly.
That won't make the roster.
They had a kid named Yarborough that got drafted one year but didn't make. But yeah, I mean, he's Wyoming is a beautiful place. But yeah, how about him though? I wonder if that question. I asked Rich Bisaccia. This is why Rich Bisaccia hates me. Because I was doing a game with Brad in the preseason, and I asked Rich during a preseason. I go, hey, by the way, who's your backup snapper if you have to go to that? He lit into me
on the air.
Oh no, on the field.
Oh really?
Why would you want to know that? Why would And they're like, you're gonna jinx, and I'm like, Rich, I'm doing the game on the radio. I just kind of wanted to know if I saw something different. Man, he lost it on me. But he also lost it because I was critical of Rod Marinelli a couple of times.
Oh, don't do that.
That was his guy. So, yeah, I can understand why. I have a lot of people that don't like me too much. And it's a problem here.
Well, it's your Cowboys pregame show, and the creators of Buffalo bring you NFL casino games. Kick off with America's team on and off the reels with Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over, and we are standing by for NBC's Melissa Stark here on your Cowboys pregame show. But get more Logan Wilson tonight. Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Please. It's not even about Logan Wilson. It's just about not seeing Kenneth Murray. I think that's really the big thing. Uh-oh, we hear the sound. We've been waiting all day for Sunday night, and now we get a little taste of it with the NBC sideline reporter Melissa Stark joining us now on your Cowboys pregame show. Melissa, thanks for the time. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm happy to be in a dome. Let me just tell you that.
I was gonna ask you, like, my gosh, can you imagine being in Chicago or something like that today, where it was just ridiculous?
I know. I was cold enough. I can't even. Where were we in Kansas City last week? I can't remember. But it's. I mean, it's so hard to be down on the sideline, and the players don't have it as bad, right? Because they have the heated bench and they have the vests and they have all the heaters. But yeah, it's pretty darn cold in a lot of places across the country. I'm just very thankful to be here.
Well, Melissa, you took us down that path. I was just wondering, do you trade warmth ideas with other sideline reporters?
That's so funny you asked that, because Kaylee, who does our Amazon Hartong on Thursday nights, I was asking her, and she emailed me the links to everything this week. So then I sent them to Aditi Kinkabwala, who at the Bengals game today. I said, "What's your email? Let me forward them to you." And the key is, I'll just give you the key if anybody out there cares. You use all the disposable things first, and then you turn on all the battery-operated heated vest and all that, because that doesn't last throughout the game.
Sure.
So it's kind of like the first half you use all the there's like the foot warmers, the hand warmers, there's like a thing you wrap around your waist, and then those are all disposable. But then I had a lot of battery-operated vests and socks and gloves and everything last week, and probably next week when we're in Baltimore.
Oh yeah, Baltimore gets you. I mean, what's the where's the stadium? What's your most frigid memory?
Well, it's funny you ask. When you're prepared for it, it's different. It's the wind that's bad. So I think Denver, back when I used to do Monday Night Football way back 2000 to 2003, and I remember being very, very cold because the wind whips through there. So and then you have I just was slurring my words just there, so it reminded me, you have a hard time talking. You have a hard time talking. Yeah, which is the big part of the job. So, but anyway, it's all great. It's great to be on the field, and it's great to be part of it all, of course.
Yeah, one time I was doing a pregame show at Dallas versus Chicago at Soldier Field there, and it was -8, and my face felt like slush.
Oh, my God.
And I've lived 5 years of my life in Green Bay working for the Packers. And
you were used to,
I was used to it, but still, you're right, you can't talk. And they go to you, and you're like, and your lips don't move, and the words aren't coming out, and it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yes,
but
exactly.
We know the lips and everything going to move for you today when talking about this football team. When the Cowboys have a lot on the line, the Vikings kind of playing for pride right now, but what's your take from the Cowboys side of things tonight?
I mean, the take from the Cowboys is, in talking, we sit down with everybody and talking to Dak is obviously we have to win. We just have to win out. And, number one, best offense in the NFL, right? CD's back. Pickens, despite what happened last week, having the best season of his career. You've got Javonte with 1,000 yards, and let's see, how many more times he can carry it the rest of the year. And
sure.
And but I think it's exciting. Dak said, despite the fact that we have this best offense in the NFL, I don't feel like we've controlled and dominated in any win this year. So that's the goal tonight. He's like, I just want to come out and start early, not a field goal. We want to score a touchdown, start early, because obviously the defense that they're going up against, and you talk about pride, and pride is a lot. If you can be a spoiler. Right. And last week, Kevin O'Connell said to these guys, play. What would your high school self say to you right now? He's trying to think of different ways to motivate them, and it's like we're fortunate to be in this position, and and you never take for granted any time you lace up those cleats, and there's a lot for them to play for, and also I think for them, they've got to see what they have in JJ, right?
Yeah,
right.
That's big, right? Because that they have to figure out if that's going to work out or that's not going to work out, and bring a veteran in, or you just feel bad for the guy because he's been injured so much at the time, and to get into rhythm and getting his throwing motion down, but anyway, so I think that there's a big focus on JJ McCarthy tonight as well.
NBC's Melissa Stark with us here on The Fan. Yeah, what'd you learn from JJ and just where he's at with his mindset right now? Because it's been a tough year.
It's definitely been a tough year. You know what he said? He had an analogy. It feels like the whole year I've been in a washing machine, just spinning around. But last week that I came out the door. So I think he feels like with that win in Washington that, he accomplished a lot. But he's really working on his throwing mechanics. He compared it to Josh Allen earlier in his career that he's just a little bit off with like his footing and then how it translates up. You can't really, as he said, and Kevin O'Connell, it's like change. You guys play golf. You can't have a lesson and go out there and change your swing that same day, right? So I think the goal is to not think as much, because Kevin O'Connell said, every time we go over something, he'll say, "Well, I thought no." Kevin's like, "Don't think." But I think that they have to address sort of the throwing motion and the mechanics there after, wait until after the season to do that. But, we'll see. We had him in his week 2 game when he got injured, when he got that high ankle sprain. Then it hasn't been great for the rest of the season for him. But the other interesting, we were talking about, getting the receivers back, and we're talking about CD and George Pickens. You look at a Justin Jefferson, and we were just so impressed by him this week. Just the star that he is, and he never complains. You'll never see him frown on the sideline. You'll never see, because and we said, how do you kind of stay cool and not get upset when you're not getting the ball or you're not having the season that you want to have? And he says, he thinks about it. What good would that do? Right. That didn't do anybody any good to sit here and pout or complain. And we were very impressed in our production meetings with him, because he's a superstar, and it's going to be fun to see all those wide receivers out there tonight.
Well, listen, speaking of the wide receivers, I'll ask you about the Dallas with Pickens.
Yes.
And you've done this a while. I mean, you've seen a lot of these games and been around big time players and stuff like that. But I'm interested. Were you surprised at the national criticism of Pickens, that he's played so well this year?
I was. I think, that's the hard part with social media now, and everybody being able to have an opinion, and everything gets sort of magnified. I was. But I think everybody is, and especially because it's the Dallas Cowboys, right? And because of the history maybe that he has had, and the fines, and people talking about his attitude. But he's really happy here. I mean, he is really, really, he loves having a quarterback like Dak. And having someone like he and CD really get along. And, the first thing that Brian Schottenheimer said was he owned up to last week. He came to me and said, I didn't have my best game. And they talked it out. And I think, the public can have whatever reaction they want, but the Cowboys don't seem concerned about it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
NBC's Melissa Stark with us here on The Fan. Yeah, you mentioned talking to Shotty, and we've grown to really love and appreciate what he's got going on in year 1 as head coach.
Yes.
What has it been like interacting with him?
Well, it's funny because Dak sat down and kind of went through the year of what he has dealt with, right? And just said, and Dak said, what I absolutely, and it starts right with Micah Parsons. And, and he said, what I love about him is he is the same every day, and he's so real, and Dak has such an appreciation for him and how he has handled this organization. And obviously you have a major tragedy, and then you have these acquisitions, and there's just a lot going on. And Dak was so impressed, and we're so impressed. I mean, it's funny, about, he takes a lot from his father. I don't think you can understate the impact, right, of growing up a coach's son and such a successful coach, and the knowledge that he has and how to handle certain situations has, really helped him, this year in his first year as head coach.
Well, listen, I have to ask you, going to break any news about Diggs tonight?
In terms of?
Just in terms of maybe like something you maybe heard or anything like that. We were at practice yesterday, today's Sunday. We were at practice on Friday, and he was out there. Out there. Are you surprised of how this has kind of worked out a little bit?
I don't really know. I can't break any news, so I don't really know the background story, but I do know. I think it's disappointing.
Right.
You guys would know better than I do. I think we were all surprised because he seemed to be in good spirits. We saw him out there running around to practice, and then we were all a little bit shocked by the news.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
How about, as Cowboys fans, we hear Aaron Jones's name, and he's kind of been a thorn in our side for many years in a Packers uniform. Now he shows up in a Vikings uniform. I imagine the Vikings, their commitment to the run tonight is going to be pretty extreme, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I think Jordan Mason being there as well. Like I've talked to Aaron about that, how much he loves that he's a Viking and that they can, share the load and not get too tired, and they both offer something very different. Kevin O'Connell kept saying if we can block, we can win the game. He kept saying over and over again, I think if we can block, we can win this game. So, I think a lot comes down to J.J. McCarthy, obviously, and we just don't know enough and if he can be consistent.
Well, Melissa, we greatly appreciate the time. It's always a treat to catch up with you, and enjoy the game tonight. We'll be watching.
All right, thanks, guys. It's great to talk to you.
Likewise, there she goes. NBC's Melissa Stark with us here on your Cowboys pregame show. Broadus, I was kind of brainstorming a little bit. I know you were dunking on my must-win game, even though it is.
Yeah.
How do you like with the purple situation? Purple meaning royalty.
Royalty.
It's a royal flush game tonight.
Royal flush, huh?
And we're flushing them down the toilet. That's what we're doing. It's a royal flush game tonight. There we go. We're here.
I appreciate your effort.
We've done it.
I really do.
It's a little bit late.
I appreciate everything you're trying to do right now to make up for the fact that you did order cheesecake for your meal.
Yeah, but now I'm just like, put a little of that blueberry stuff on top.
Yeah.
Let's spice this thing up a little bit.
Yeah.
A royal flush game here with the Vikings in town at AT&T Stadium. It is your Cowboys pregame show. 2 hours and 40 minutes to kick off Sunday Night Football here on your home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan. Let's go inside the Star with our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, next here on the Fan.
Hi, it's Pete Thompson from the Consumer Team. Every year, the summer heat puts a real strain on your HVAC system, which means it needs a tune-up before...
workplaces. Let us bring championship-level commercial cleaning to your doorstep. Visit JennyKing.com today. And go Cowboys!
Here we go, 2 hours, 34 minutes to kick off Sunday Night Football. Cowboys Vikings here at AT&T Stadium. Great to have you in the official pregame show of America's team. Let's go inside the Star with our Cowboys insider Bobby Belt live here in the Brad Sham radio booth. Bob, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Last time I saw you, you were angering Sean Sharif.
Look, I mean, we were just talking ball on KNC Masterpiece on Friday. That's all we were doing. And, I mean, if Sean is too insecure to handle some ball knowledge, then I don't know what to tell him.
Well, I'm excited to soak in some of your ball knowledge on tonight's game. You had a great breakdown of this Vikings team despite being on some level of a vacation. I don't think you ever go full vacation mode.
No.
But you were in that hard, like 85 to 90% vacation mode, and you cranked out a nice little Vikings preview. I want to start with what is going to be the star of the night, which is when the Cowboys have the football and they're going up against the vaunted blitzing defense of Brian Flores and these Vikings. How do you like the Cowboys' chances here in being able to navigate that? And it's probably better that they're at home tonight for sure.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, Dallas plays better. Dallas plays faster when they're at home. It's always a benefit not to have to go to Minnesota with as loud as that place can get. But, I mean, they had... Was that the Detroit game a couple weeks back where, I mean, their own offensive line had 8 false start penalties at home, which is like an NFL record. That's never occurred at a home game before like that. But if you can block it up, and that's going to be such a big if you can block it up, if Dak can kind of evade the rush the way he did against Green Bay, like, I think you do have some opportunities to throw on them. Like they do have some vulnerabilities, I feel like, in their secondary if you can get that. But the biggest question is just going to be, obviously, can you get those opportunities? Right now, they have allowed, I think it's 24 pass attempts over 20 yards, which is one of the lowest rates in NFL history for allowing that.
Yeah.
The problem is that when teams fire off those 24 shots, the Vikings are allowing the worst efficiency in the history of the NFL on throws 20 yards down the field. Teams are absolutely destroying them when they can actually get the ball off. The problem is that a lot of times they can't get the ball off. Mm-hmm. And so that'll be a big thing tonight, is just being able to protect Dak, having Dak processing at a really fast level. Maybe you do like, I think it was the Jets game, where they went max protect and took the shot to George Pickens.
Right.
Maybe you have some max protect shots built in there like you did there, and try to take advantage of that, because they'll give you the opening if they're not able to blitz. And this is a general vulnerability that exists in Flores' scheme. Because, I mean, they play cover zero more than anybody else in the NFL. Like, those opportunities have always presented themselves when you're playing Brian Flores. It's like, you know, we're taking and giving some stuff. But this is the first year where the efficiency is as bad as it is for a Flores defense. It's never been this bad. I think it's on post routes and throws 20-plus yards down the field. They've allowed 9 touchdowns, no interceptions. The passer rating is something like 150. I mean, it's really bad for them when you can get those off.
When you're looking at the Cowboys, though, and you mentioned about the blitzes, and what I've noticed just watching their tape, and then you go back and you read the metrics, it's a lot of first, second down blitzes is what it is. Who needs to be on the screws tonight when it comes to being ready to go throughout the game? Is it Clayton Adams, or with the offensive line, the adjustments, or is it going to be Dak Prescott with his own adjustments?
Yeah, I think it's more the latter. I mean, Clayton Adams can sit there and play the chess match and draw things up as much as he wants, and he can help him out.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of different instances in all likelihood where, it is.
Dak,
you got to make a play.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I mean, fair or not, like, I mean, it could be a thing where it's like, well, why wasn't that drawn up a little better? Well, it just wasn't, so now you got to be really good. And so I think that's the thing. It's more important for Dak to be, like I referenced back, that Green Bay game, where Micah was getting pressure consistently.
But his ability to navigate the
Dak,
pocket.
it was the best game I've ever seen Dak play from inside the pocket, being able to just sidestep the rush, a step forward. It was these little subtleties that, you know, it's the kind of thing that you saw Brady do for years to avoid the rush.
I haven't seen a defense all year that gets more free rushers than these guys.
Yeah, no, it's the Flores specialty.
Yeah.
It's what he's able to do, and it's really difficult to pick up. Now, obviously, I think a lot of times what they like to do to slow things down is Dallas in terms of where they like to slow down the rushes. They like to run the football. They like to try and pick up yards through the ground. And okay, you got to earn the opportunity to rush us. You guys talked about it a little bit earlier. I heard you get the screen game going.
Yeah.
So I think getting the screen game going, trying to run the ball, which to me, I think there is some opportunity to run the ball against them. Even though I think if you just look at the raw numbers, it doesn't look great against Minnesota. I think
lead the league in stuffs.
They do, but to me, it's like the guy who's got to be big tonight for you in the run game is Tyler Booker.
Sure,
because I think you can run at Jonathan Allen.
Yeah,
I think Jonathan Allen, who's even when he was at the top of his game, was never the best run defender in the NFL. He has a lot of moments on tape where he is just not gap sound at all.
Sure,
and so if Booker can kind of open things up there, you can start running the ball a little bit that direction. I think you would have some opportunities potentially to throw them off their game a little bit.
Bobby, what if I told you I want to get into some 12 personnel and try and balance them up? If I want to balance their look on defense.
Yeah.
And try and maybe make it a little bit easier for Dak to read? Does
Sure.
that sound reasonable?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to do that, that's completely fine. I got to look. I think that their 12 personnel rates are probably for Dallas, and I might be able to look it up more soon, but I would think their 12 personnel rates are probably one of the lower ones in the NFL.
Yeah, I know, but I'm
off
trying,
the top of my head. No, yeah, I'm
trying to think of ways to make Minnesota show me what they might be doing. And if they overload one side or play a little different to one side, I'm just going to check it and run the ball to the other side or make a play to the other side.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I want to try and balance them up so I can count all the defenders and help maybe my guys with
get the numbers game right. Yeah. No, I think that's totally fine. And then I think if you're able to do some of that would be helpful. Again, it's a lot of this is also going to come down to Nate Thomas and Terrence Steele have to play a lot better than they did last week.
Yes.
And so if you can get them to play a little bit better, that would help you a great deal. I think, obviously we've seen what they can do rushing the passer, the Vikings, the way they can bring blitzers. This team gets more pressure that when not blitzing than any team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Their pressure rate is the highest in the NFL when they don't blitz. And so they can still get you even if they decide not to blitz. Mm-hmm. And I think recently the guy that coming into this is really starting to make me a little antsy is Dallas Turner. Just because watching him on tape the last few weeks, he has been a different player than we've seen the first year and a half of his career.
Sure has.
It's Bobby Bell with us here on The Fan. All right, other side of the ball, Cowboys defense tonight, and J.J. McCarthy, I mean, he played his best game of the season versus the Commanders.
A lot of people do.
Can he duplicate that?
Look, I mean, Dallas has shown this year that their secondary, you can duplicate a lot of things against them if you like.
That's the scary thing.
To me, I look at this and I just say that I think this Vikings offensive line has some serious vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
And being able to protect. It's not helped by a young quarterback who, the younger you are as a quarterback, the more problems you usually have getting rid of it and letting go of it in time. You're usually sitting there looking at a young quarterback going, throw it. Like, you always hold on to it like a second or two longer than you should, and it ends up in sacks. That's the biggest problem that exists right now for Drake May, for instance. Drake May holds onto the ball too long. Caleb Williams did that same thing. Dak early in his career held onto the ball way too long. So young quarterbacks have that problem typically. But even with that said, I think the interior of this offensive line has a lot of leaks on it. They've had some musical chairs that they've had to play with this year, but pretty consistently, no matter who's been out there, they've had trouble stopping interior pressure. Now, that sounds familiar because that's what we were talking about last week with Detroit, too. Detroit was having trouble with interior pressure, and they flipped that switch pretty quick.
You could have the makeshift offensive line and find a way to block Dallas, it seems like.
Yeah, as long as – so this is going to be big for – Osa needs to play like he did those 3 weeks. You're going to need that from Quinnen Williams. If you can generate that and you can frazzle J.J. McCarthy a little bit because pressure is something that he has had trouble with so far, then, I think that alone is going to be the biggest key to stopping their offense is if you can kind of disrupt them with pass rush up the middle.
Are you buying more Logan Wilson tonight? You think we'll actually see that?
Buying more in terms of do I like it or if we're actually going to see it?
If we're actually going to see it.
I think so because, I mean, they when Kenneth Murray, after he got beat a couple times and had some bad moments against Detroit, they did start increasing Logan Wilson's reps in the second half against Detroit. And so I would hope we see more of him. Logan Wilson is not the Logan Wilson that he was 4 years ago. Logan Wilson is not one of the best linebackers in the NFL. Logan Wilson is a strong, solid mental processor. And that's going to help cover over for some deficiencies naturally. I feel like Kenneth Murray is one of the worst that we've got as a mental processor. So for me, I think that switch alone is just worth it.
Bobby, in the last minute, they talked about adjustments on the kickoff coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Do you expect to see anything different, or is it the same song, second verse?
If adjustment is maybe you just tell Aubrey, kick it out. Just kick it out of the end zone. And because the 35 is better than the 43.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some of that. I'd also like to see the adjustment of not waving fair catch and then returning the ball anyway. I'd like to see that on the other side. Special teams has to be better. Special teams was a big reason you lost last week, too.
I agree.
So you absolutely need to be better in that respect. And I do wonder if some of the response there is just going to be, Brandon, just kick it out of the end zone.
What's your prediction?
I got Dallas 24-17 on this one. But again, that could flip very easily if you, A, don't generate pressure, and B, if it looks just like a nightmare for Dak up front.
I like the positive vibes. There he is, Bobby Belt, Cowboys Insider, live here on 105.3 The Fan. Thanks, Bob.
Love you all.
There he goes. All right, whether you're a backyard griller, Cowboys tailgater, or Pitmaster Pro, Meat Church has everything you need. Visit meatchurch.com, your ultimate destination for the finest rubs, seasonings, and barbecue supplies. Matt Pittman and Meat Church, the official Pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys. 2 hours and 23 minutes to kick off Sunday Night Football here at AT&T Stadium. Cowboys and Vikings. Let's go behind enemy lines with Pete Bersich of the Vikings play-by-play team. That's coming up next right here on The Fan.
How's it going? You see that Cowboys game?
Oh, I watched. Been seeing some good things.
This is the Dallas Cowboys pregame show, brought to you by
Bell Nunnally. Behind every great company. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. Volleman's Dairy. The official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Tyson Foods. Get your Tyson Cowboys Star Nuggets available now. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Case on a deep drop, steps up in the pocket. He'll fire to the right side. Caught by Diggs. Stay up. Oh my God! 30. No. 10. Touchdown! Are you kidding me? It's a Minneapolis miracle. Stephon Diggs and the Minnesota Vikings have walked on the New Orleans Saints. It's a 61-yard Minneapolis miracle. I can't believe what I just saw, Kyle. What an unbelievable play. Fans at U.S. Bank Stadium are embracing each other. They're trying to climb into the box to hug us all. Nobody can find Stephon Diggs. He ran into the tunnel. Unbelievable, Paul. Are you kidding me? They run the deep ball route. Stephon Diggs goes up, and Marcus Williams, the rookie, tries to jump over the back of him to break up the throw. The ball is caught, and Diggs is able to take it into the end zone. Look at the Vikings coaches. This is just an absolute mistake. Yes! Are you kidding me? Look at these Vikings coaches. Yes!
Yes. Here we go. 2 hours and 16 minutes to kick off Behind Enemy Lines with Pete Bersich of the
back when we were winning stuff.
Vikings Radio Network. Yeah, what a time that was, man.
I remember before that drive, because we were 13-3, I think, that year, 12-4, whatever we were. And so we get the ball, and you're sitting there, and in the back of my mind, I'm going, okay, because we had a bye. That was the division. That was the wild card game, or not the wild card, whatever division.
Yeah, divisional,
whatever playoff. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, at the end of this, I'm going to have about 30 seconds to sum up this season. Obviously, a disappointment, but in the back of my head, I'm going, okay, so Case Keenum, all those
You're ready
things.
To break out the violin.
Right, well, all that stuff. Like, just how do you sum up this season in about 30 seconds? Because I figured it'd be over.
Yeah,
and then. Boom, that happened. I've been around this thing a long time. I've seen Adrian Peterson with a single game rushing record. I saw, Brett Favre with the touchdown record, the longest passing touchdown in NFL history, longest kickoff return in NFL history. I mean, I've seen all kinds of just unbelievable things, and that one still, that was probably the craziest damn thing I have ever seen.
No question. Yeah, that's an all-time moment right there.
All right, we'll see you later. I'm done.
Go out on a high note. I love it. Pete Bersich with us here on The Fan. Well, it's great to have you, man. It's great to see you. A Vikings lifer. You really have sort of seen it all. I mean, player, coach, broadcaster. And now we usher in this version of this Vikings team. How would you kind of describe the way this season has gone?
Missing expectations. I think last year you have McCarthy, and then he gets injured, and then Darnold steps in and does an unbelievably good job. The Vikings got rid of Darnold when they a year before they even signed him, when they drafted McCarthy, right? You draft a guy that highly, he's going to be your quarterback. So we were the first 14-win team in history, or in the NFL history, to ever let their quarterback go. Yeah. Right? Darnold's the only guy to win 14 games for a team and not play for that team the following year. And then it's just it started out great Monday night against the Bears. McCarthy's NFC Player of the Week, and then from then it kind of went downhill. Right, you had injuries and just inconsistent play. Injuries on the offensive line have been the big thing. Last week against the Commanders was the first time we had 2 quarters of all 5 of our normal starting offensive linemen, but since then it's been one game really. And so that hasn't gone as the way you wanted it to. The quarterback situation has not gone the way we thought it would. Defensively, you make some moves in the offseason. You bring in Jonathan Allen, you bring in Javon Hargrave. Why? Because we saw more passes last year than any other defense in the league. 63% of the time, teams were throwing the ball against us. Why? Because we were in the lead. Right. Mm-hmm. And so you're like, okay, well, we forget the running thing. We're gonna get some guys that can rush the passer. And you get into this season, and teams are running the ball. That number's completely flipped. Teams are running the ball on us, at least maybe up until the last couple of weeks, but over 50% of the time. Why? Because they have a lead. Because we're turning the ball over at a prodigious rate. Last week, what week is this? This is week 15. All right, so week 14 was the first time J.J. McCarthy didn't throw an interception in a game. Think about that.
It's crazy.
We've given the ball away 26 times this year. 19 interceptions total, 10 of them from McCarthy. 6 of those 10 were supposed to be going to Justin Jefferson, by the way.
Right.
That whole, and I'll get into that in a second. But so you asked me how the season is going. It's been very disappointing in that regard. And the worse it gets, I've been around this thing a long time, the worse it gets to kind of, the answers are simple. For us to be in a game, we just got to quit turning the football over. That's what we did last week. Right, the week before we threw 4 interceptions against Seattle and got shut out. Well, the following week you don't turn the ball over. They turn the ball. Finally, our defense can go on the field with a multiple score lead, get teams aggressive again, and then our defense can be what it was designed to do in the offseason, and that's put pressure on a quarterback when an offense is spread out, right, when they want to throw the football. And you see the plan go, oh, okay, there's the plan that you had going into this year, but part of it's playing the AFC North. You play Pittsburgh, they're going to throw in extra running backs, extra tackles, extra everything, and run the ball. And we just haven't. I don't know. It's just been like a square peg in a round hole all season. And the Jefferson, that's the next thing that we have to see. I mean, we finally won a game last week. I mean, again, first time in NFL history you get shut out by 25 or more points, and then a week later shut out an opponent by 25 or more points. Never happened before, right? Not as good as the NFC, the Diggs catch, but it was still pretty good. But then you walk away from that and go, my God, Justin Jefferson had 8 yards of receiving. 8? You're looking at the box score, going, what? Yeah. You had the number, and the numbers. It's like with numbers are numbers. They are what they are. McCarthy has a 45 passer rating thrown to Jefferson, 6 interceptions. It's the lowest among 98 quarterback receiver duos that qualify with 40 or more targets.
Jeez.
It's been that, So that is the next thing. You ask, like, what do we have to do to be in this game? Well, first of all, can't turn the ball over. Yeah. We start turning the football over, forget it. The second thing is that at some point, Aaron Jones does, you guys, I've seen enough of him.
Yeah.
Sure. He's been hurt a little bit. He's been on and off, but Aaron Jones is still a good football player. And you have to find a way to get the ball to Jefferson. Jefferson has to become a lot more like George Pickens, I think.
Right.
Catch a slant, catch a quick, catch a dig. Maybe later on down the road we can get you on a dig and kind of a corner route like Pickens had against Philadelphia.
Sure.
Right. You run the dig and in route so many times that corner's just waiting. He goes to jump it, boom, the 7 routes open. I think you have to kind of reinvent the wheel in that regard with Jefferson. So it can, whatever he can do that can match the skill set of our quarterback, because it's been a spoon feeding type of a situation where they're talking about mechanics and then they're like, all right, we're not going to talk about mechanics anymore. We're just going to let the kid go out and play. And it's just kind of like, I knew, and I've been, when Viking fans were bitching about Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
All right. And then you get Darnold and they always like, just draft a quarterback.
Right.
It's like, it's not that simple.
Right.
Because, and I still consider McCarthy a rookie, even though he's not. But the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs, it's in the inconsistencies. And, we lose to the Bears and I mean, that first quarter we should have scored 14 points because we had guys running wide open. We just couldn't get the ball to them. So what are the coaches going to do? They're scheming guys open. They're doing everything it's just. And so, you want to pull your hair out. And, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Yeah. What, Eric and I all week were talking, Eric and I all week were talking about the thing that we've really enjoyed studying Viking tape and games and stuff like that has been Brian Flores.
Yeah.
And what are the challenges that Dak Prescott is going to have to face tonight with how Brian likes to attack you?
I think he can do it in so many different ways, and there's as a defense, right? You can show blitz and then kind of drop out of it. But he takes that to the next level, and that's where guys like Harrison Smith and Josh Metellus help out because they're veteran guys. They show something that's real. They're not showing a fake blitz or just like, you know what I mean? They're showing something that you did 6 times last week, and then you're getting something else. And then for Brian Flores, you have to, and I learned this as a coach, is you I don't care how big your playbook is in your head, if you don't have the players to execute it, then you can't use it. But when you have a Jonathan Grenard, who I still think is the best defender we have on the team. His numbers are not great this year, but he's got his shoulder thing. But and then like Andrew Van Ginkel and even Dallas Turner now, you've got guys that are so versatile. Andrew Van Ginkel can run D-line stunts. He can rush the passer. He plays the run. But you can drop him in the flat. He can pattern read. He can be in the right spot. And because of that talent set that he has, especially on the outside, he's able to create things and do different things and put guys in. I mean, the coverages that we play are not very complicated. It's just you don't know. You have no idea if Jay Ward is playing safety, or is he going to come down and play a rolled up corner and cover 2, or is he going to? You just don't know. Now
it's because of a lot of the base defense you play, right?
Yeah,
not a lot of nickel stuff.
No. It depends. He kind of keeps out there on the field who's the hot hand, and right now Eric Wilson, who we signed in the offseason, he's played really, really well. Yeah. So they've actually, in nickel or dime situations, moved him to outside line. He's played plenty of outside linebacker. Right. We had Ivan Pace on the field for a lot last year. He hasn't been playing as much, but the guys who are producing, he finds a way to stay out there, and he just interchanges guys in different spots. And then the looping and stunting and all that. I mean, he's going to get aggressive. He wants a certain pressure amount on the quarterback.
Right.
Okay. And he'll blitz enough to get it. So if he's got to blitz half the time to get 40% pressure rate, he'll do it. If he's only got to blitz 10% of the time to get that 4, if he had 4 unbelievable defensive linemen, then he would quit blitzing.
Right.
And I think that's what the goal was with the Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen was, okay, we can actually play some coverage. We can sit back. We don't have to be so aggressive. And, again, with how much teams have run the football on us, he's like, screw it. We're going to go back to what we were, and we're just going to blitz all the time.
I really like Redmond, though.
Yeah, Jalen Redmond. Yeah, he's a guy that we found.
Street free agent, like in 24, I think, something like that.
Yeah, he was. I think he played. What league did he play in? I should know all this.
He was with the Arlington with the
the Renegades.
He was with the Renegades. Yeah, and found his way to get into training camp. And then the thing with Jalen Redmond is he showed some flashes when he was young,
right?
But he just kept working and kept getting better. And just never quit getting better.
Right.
And he's become a pretty good run defender, and then he's got some juice in the pass rush.
He sure does.
Right? So
he kind of pops there when you watch the games and stuff
right.
like
and
that.
He's a guy that no one wanted.
Right.
And I played with John Randall, Texas A&M at Kingsville at the time.
Yeah.
Another guy that nobody wanted. He was 245 pounds.
Right.
But what did he do? He just kept working, and the man worked like nobody I'd ever seen. But he just kept working and working and working and got better and better. That's another big issue that I kind of have with the draft and everything now is that guys get to a certain spot and then like, oh, I got drafted in the first round, I made it. Yeah. It's like, no. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? And Jalen Redmond, I think, epitomizes, that. I mean, Levi Drake Rodriguez is another Texas kid.
Sure.
He's that same kind of kid, just keeps working and working and working. And next thing you know, he's making 2 plays in 1 play a game, and then 2 plays, and then 3 plays. And that's what Flores likes. And I think he might be one of the few left that does not care what name's on the back of a jersey.
Right.
I mean, if you're not playing well, you're out. Yeah. He's bringing somebody else in. Doesn't matter what your paycheck. And that's kind of how he is. If last week we had 2 weeks ago against Seattle, Isaiah Rodgers had a rough day tackling. Well, guess who's playing corner 30% of the time last week against Washington? It's Jay Ward, a safety,
right,
who played corner a little bit in college.
Right.
He's like, it doesn't matter. You got to tackle. So we're going to have you want to be on the field, you got to tackle. And I think in that regard, it used to be, I'm good friends with Dixon Edwards, who's probably one of my best friends I played with. He was here in Minnesota. And he would talk about Jimmy Johnson,
right,
and like the story of coming back from Tokyo and then going right to practice and covering kicks in full gear because he didn't like the way the special teams played.
Sure.
But when he it's just things got. I'm not saying soft, but I mean, my God, it's a different game now. It's much more athletic. Not that the game's any better or worse than it used to be, but man, when you see guys like, again, going back to Redmond, that just work. And just work, and they're always out there.
Right.
I hate guys that play. They finally have a good game, and then they're out for 3 weeks.
Right.
Especially at the corner position, it's like you're never going to learn the spot because once you start doing something to shut something down, they're going to have a comeback, and then you got to learn how to shut that down. And then after you do that for a year or two, now you got a nice library in your head about, okay, if they do this, then they do this, and I can pull from this game, and then you become a really, really good football player. And if you can't stay on the field, you're just never going to get there.
Well, Pete, you're an absolute animal, man. We appreciate the time. I could be chatting with you all day. I love it.
We got kickoffs now for another 2 hours.
Yeah, we still got. Well, I mean, you got to have a great John Randall story. I mean, I would have to imagine.
I was hoping for a Henry Thomas story.
Or a little Henry Thomas.
Hank and I were teammates at LSU.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, Hank and I go back,
Hank would walk out to the bus with his hat on and a stogie, right?
Yeah, that's
Hank, and he was smart too, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, was he smart?
For an LSU guy, he was for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for John Randall, I mean, Johnny. When you play in the NFL, everybody has pride in how hard they work, right? We all worked hard, but every single day of training camp, when you look over at 9:15 in the morning and look at the D-line drill, John Randall was the first guy through every single drill. Yeah. Every single day. Every day, every drill, every day. He wouldn't let anybody else go first. He was the first. And like I said, I couldn't. He's humbling because it's like I couldn't outwork him.
No.
Right, yeah, we all work hard, right? Yeah. We're all pretty proud of how we work. We're all big and tough, but that guy was a whole he was just a whole nother level. Unbelievable.
I love it, man. Pete, thanks so much for the time, dude. Enjoy the game tonight.
All right, I will. I kind of like it. Coffee, you got a lot of room.
Yeah, man.
We got food at halftime too. It's really
the hospitality in the Brad Sham radio booth is no joke. Pop in at halftime. I dare you.
Jerry,
I dare you.
Say what you want. Jerry did it right.
No question.
It's been a while. I mean, it's been 6 years since we've been here, so.
Well, it's great to have you back.
It's good to be back. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. There he goes, Pete Bersich of the Vikings Radio Network with us here on your Cowboys pregame show, brought to you by Reliant. Reliant is proud to power the homes of the Dallas Cowboys and the homes of Cowboys fans across Texas. Reliant, the official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. We are now 2 hours to kick off Sunday Night Football live here at AT&T Stadium, and we'll welcome in Babe Laughenberg next right here on The Fan.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at Take 5 Oil Change.
or the community they build, Bell Nunley is behind every great company. Go to bellnunley.com to learn more.
All right, here we go. Under 2 hours to kick off at AT&T Stadium. Cowboys and Vikings for Sunday Night Football. Let's welcome in our good buddy, Babe Laughenberg, live here in the Brad Sham Radio booth with the NFL Red Zone on the big screen here at AT&T Stadium, Babe. This is ideal. This is beautiful, man. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Wouldn't you guys like to come out here one time when you're watching a game or something and say, hey, I've got it on the big screen at AT&T Stadium?
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Soaking an entire football Sunday here, watching the NFL Red Zone on the biggest screen in America. That sounds pretty dang good to me.
Okay, quick question for you guys. What is the Mendoza line for you guys to come into the Brad Sham Radio booth? Mendoza line, for the uninitiated, batting 200 in baseball. So what is the temperature?
Yeah.
What is the Mendoza line?
I think it's if it's a late game and it gets below 35, I think that's kind of where we're at. We didn't have the wind. It's usually we're worried about the wind.
Yeah.
But when the sun goes down and it's in the 30s out there, because my man Eric, if you want to give him a present, he'd love a coat, a big overcoat. If you want to give him one for Christmas, he'd absolutely love that.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about getting him a gift for Christmas, and then I decided against it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he would take
Samesies, babe.
He would take that snazzy Indiana Hoosier Letterman.
Yeah, I'll take
jacket.
that. I'll take that one.
With the old school. That's an old school. That was a good looking jacket.
That is old school. That's funny. That's funny. A very quick story here, because you get with the winter jacket. My nephew goes to Notre Dame. What is it called? Canada? Is that like a Canada jacket? They're expensive. They're really nice. They're really warm. I think they're like called Canada.
Yeah,
something.
we used to have LL Bean. That was kind of
No, this is like, and so he said, "Oh, Uncle, we're having coffee to one morning." He said, "Uncle Babe, it was I needed a jacket. It was a really good investment." And I said, "Jake, that's my nephew." I said, "Jake, you know why it was a good investment? Because your dad paid for it."
Yeah,
that's right.
Anytime you don't pay for anything, it's a great investment.
Free 99 is my favorite price. And
well, now at least I know what you want.
There you go. I appreciate it. Well, hey, what do you think about now? We're watching a little Red Zone.
Yeah.
What did you make of the Phillip Rivers return?
Oh, geez. It's crazy, isn't it? I was talking to Jim Maurer, the Cowboys trainer, and I said, have they got his own blue tent? Like, usually there's one blue tent, obviously, at the game on each sideline. I think there's a Phillip Rivers tent in Seattle there for Indianapolis is obviously in Seattle playing the Seahawks. There's a Phillip Rivers tent, and then there's a tent for the other, 46 guys.
Yeah, you got to be checking his vitals.
The weird thing is,
every series.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's funny because there have been 44-year-old guys play. Obviously, Tom Brady. I saw the list. Aaron Rodgers is over
George
40.
Blanda.
But they never left the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been out of the league for. I mean, how you just jump in? I mean, even if he had training camp and hadn't played for 5 years,
that's
I'd
Phillip
say, wow,
Rivers, babe. That's the deal. It's Phillip Rivers.
But I love it. I mean, it's a great story, right? I mean, it's great.
I mean, he's sitting at 11 of 18 right now, 88 yards, a touchdown. He's been sacked one time, passer rating of 92. So he's holding his own. They're up 13-9 right now on the Seahawks. How about that?
Yeah, that's Kevin O'Connell, who, of course, is the Vikings head coach, said he went. I watched his press conference here during the week. He said he went to text Phillip happy birthday. He turned 44, I think it was Tuesday. But he said, I went to text him happy birthday, and as I was texting him, I saw where he had signed. So he said, first he just said, hey, happy 44th. And then he said, well, and then I'm saying, whoa, okay, well, and your day just changed.
No kidding, man. Pretty unbelievable stuff. All right, we got Babe Laughenberg with us here on your Cowboys pregame show. Let's take a look at this matchup tonight, Sunday Night Football, Cowboys and Vikings, Babe. And let's start with this vaunted blitz-heavy Brian Flores Vikings defense. I mean, as a quarterback, as an offense, and an offensive line, how the heck do you go about trying to keep these guys away from Dak tonight?
Yeah, it's difficult. They blitz more than anyone. I know you guys have touched on that, and they come from all angles. They come from everywhere. The interesting thing is they don't have a great pass rusher in their front seven. But so many of their guys, they have 3 sacks here, 4 sacks.
Yeah, the pressure.
Their inside linebacker, Eric Wilson, has 5.5. So they move him to the outside, and the identification of him is difficult. Now, I always tell people this, though. Defense for a quarterback, it's a counting game, right? There's 11 guys over there. They got to cover 5. You have 5 eligible receivers. So they can only bring 6. You hear people say, oh, they brought 7 or they brought 8. No, they really can't unless the back blocks and blah, blah, blah. But so you got to, the trouble is they put 7 guys up on the line of scrimmage, and you don't know which of those 7 are coming. And they're up there a bunch. So it's a game, to me, 2 things. Your rules have to hold up, right? The rules that you have, if I'm the middle linebacker, we identify the mic, I'm taking the second guy in, they got to hold up and you got to stay with them. The other part for me is you're not going to be perfect, right? You're not going to identify, you don't know where they're coming from. So there's no way if I turn the line left, but the whole thing is to be decisive. Just be decisive. Where the center, the quarterback, the line, the back, we all know what we're doing. And Dak, obviously in his 10th year, he'll figure it out. He'll know, okay, maybe we should have turned the line the other way at the snap of the ball, but you don't know that before the snap. But we know if they come from the left side, I'm hot. I'm not protected here. So to me, again, that's the biggest thing. Be decisive in this game, because you're not going to be right all the time. You just can't be. They throw 7 guys up there. You have 5 offensive linemen to block them. Just turn your protection one way or the other and then live with it.
Babe, can I ask you maybe a ridiculous question, or what I maybe would think about doing is I want to try and balance them up. Would 12 personnel make them have to play more balanced?
You know what's funny? I wish you hadn't said a ridiculous question, because I was talking to my son driving out here today saying, if you go 2 tight ends, it spreads everything out a little bit, removes the guy. And it was interesting watching Washington, say that fast 5 times.
Right.
They did the Tennessee Josh Heupel deal where at times they put the 2 wide receivers on each side almost in the bench. So that kind of cleared things out. Now, you may say, well, they got shut out. You may not want to do what Washington did because Minnesota shut them out. But, yeah, the 2 tight ends, again, it widens. That guy doesn't have a short run from either side. The other thing is I've seen teams play Minnesota, and they get so conservative just in terms of, well, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do that. Right. And they just throw smoke screens, all day out to the wide receiver. Just quick screen, because they feel like, okay, this is, and then that doesn't work. Minnesota sees a lot of that because of the style they play. They know teams are going to try to do that to them. Get the ball out quickly while you got those 7 guys in tight. But it creates a problem. And it's funny because this week I looked at more Minnesota defense than I have of any defense.
Oh, it's a lot of fun to study.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot of fun. They play well for each other. They really do.
I was trying to kind of, figure this out. What would I do? Now, I will be the first to tell you, I'm not in the position. I'm not a play caller. I don't have to design plays to beat it. So I'm not sitting there saying, okay, I'd run this. But I am looking at it, trying to get just a feel for, boy, how do they do it? Because to me, they're more different than anybody that you play. I mean, their defense is, we know they blitz more than anybody, but it's just a little bit different than anybody you play. So it takes a lot of time to figure out, what we can and can't do against them. But that's up to the coaches. That's why they pay them.
Oh, no. That's absolutely, what, babe, I found this team was their blitzing was really coordinated. Sometimes you watch teams blitz and it looks kind of crazy how they're blitzing. Yeah. This looked very coordinated, with the way, a lot of free rushers. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, excuse me. And to your point of the coordination, it's exactly what I was looking at. You think, okay, that kind of defense, that style of defense is going to give up a lot of big plays. Right. But they don't. They've given up the fewest 20-plus plays, and they've given up the fewest 20-plus pass plays. And when you played, we'll go way back, the Buddy Ryan defense, right? The
46
Bear defense.
Yeah.
You had guys running free. I mean, they didn't even cover them because they screwed the thing up, but you had no time to find them. I mean, that defense, they're on you. You look at the film on Monday and you say, oh, my God, look at this. He's running wide open. Nobody covered this guy. Nobody covered that guy, but you didn't have time to find them. This defense, while doing a lot of blitzing, a lot of different things defensively, they're very sound defensively, which is a tribute. And very quickly, Brian Schottenheimer talked about it. It's a veteran group, and Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator for Minnesota, like every coach, but he likes veteran players. And if you do as much as they do defensively, schematically, you better have guys that can pick it up and that know what they're doing. And they do. Their back seven, we always talk about front seven, right? Linebackers, defensive line. Their back seven, linebackers and secondary, they don't have a single guy back there with under 5 years of NFL experience. And that allows them to be able to do some of the things that they do defensively, again, schematically.
It's Babe Laughenberg with us here on The Fan. How much are you going to be watching George Pickens, especially to start this game, and just how hot he's coming off the line?
Yeah, I think. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. When you watch the tape, Richard Sherman kind of obviously started the fire. I didn't know anything about it till the next day. We're in Detroit, obviously, getting on the bus, not watching anything, not really looking at anything. We got back at 4 a.m. My first inclination was not to wake up at 9 a.m. and see what Richard Sherman said. But
yeah,
if you watch the Cowboys all along, that's nothing new. I mean,
thank you, babe. Thank you.
No, it's every game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These national, if you're a national media member and you have to talk about the NFL, study the Cowboys, because that's the one team. But if you watch him play for 14 weeks, he plays with that kind of pace. And this is nothing different from what we've already seen.
Yeah, and again, I'm not. This isn't a shot at Richard Sherman. I'm not saying.
I'll take it. He'd study better.
He came in and he saw the game and said, "Wow!" And then everybody said, "Oh, he wasn't hustling." Well,
yeah,
I can bring up 100 plays this year where he does not come off the ball.
Exactly.
You watch Detroit, and I posted. I invite anybody to go to my Twitter at Babe Laughenberg and see what I posted on David Montgomery's 35-yard run. They're in a 3-by-1 set. Detroit is.
Yeah.
3 receivers, wide receivers left. They explode off the ball. Each one of them gets a block 10 yards downfield on either a safety or a corner, and that sprung David Montgomery. You won't. Dan Campbell wouldn't tolerate.
Right.
Hey, it's the old thing. You get what you demand. You encourage what you tolerate. So they clearly don't demand that he come off and block people and do those things. He does it occasionally, but let me just say, hey, when you play receiver like he does, and when you go up and get the ball like he does, I guess you put up with, sometimes not hustling and sometimes not blocking.
Well, Babe, looking at this, the Vikings side of things, what's your scouting report on the young quarterback, J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah, you said the perfect word, young. He's thrown 182 NFL passes. I mean, he is just getting his feet wet. I really look at him as a rookie because unlike, let's say, Patrick Mahomes, who only started one game his rookie year, the last game of the year when Kansas City had already had their playoff decided, their seeding. He was at practice every day, right? And he played in the preseason and did all those things. Mahomes did. McCarthy had none of that last year. He got hurt in the very first preseason game, didn't practice. So to me, he's a rookie. And you're seeing rookie, things that rookies do, right? Which is a little late with the ball, but that's okay. Again, he hasn't seen everything he's going to see in the NFL. And again, I was doing a show and somebody said, well, he's 3 games into his career. He shouldn't be doing that. This was a number of weeks ago, right? And I said, three games. I said, there are guys 3 years that are still trying to figure it out. Dak is playing his best ball, I think in part because, hey, it's his 10th year. He's just getting real comfortable. Now, obviously, George Pickens helps, CeeDee Lamb helps, all that. But there's a reason why Dak is playing with such confidence and decisiveness. He knows what to do. McCarthy is, again, he's just a baby. He's getting his feet wet. I do like him. I think he's a competitor. I think he's a winner. He won in high school, won in Michigan. He was 27-1 as a starter at Michigan. But as we know, it takes time in the NFL. And here, who didn't give people time? Cleveland didn't give Baker Mayfield time. The New York Jets didn't give Sam Darnold time. The Giants, with Daniel Jones, they just didn't. All those guys have gone on, as we know, to be really good for these teams this year. Obviously, Daniel Jones is hurt, but it takes time to develop them. And I think the worst thing is you play these young guys, and when you play him, you got to say we're going to have to deal with some mistakes. We're going to have to deal with some rookie mistakes, but we'll get to the other end. And I just think too many teams give up on these guys too early.
Well, hopefully we see a lot of those rookie mistakes tonight here versus this Cowboys defense. That would be a sight to behold.
Well,
we appreciate it.
Hey, very quickly, I know we're probably going to, Minnesota wants to run the ball tonight.
Sure.
I mean, they want to run the ball. I mean, Kevin O'Connell knows I got a rookie back here. I got a couple of good backs. They want to take the pressure off of him. And the Cowboys, they want to take out Justin Jefferson. So you're in a little conundrum. If I go play two deep safeties, and Addison's a heck of a receiver as well. If I play two deep safeties, take away the passing game, well, now I'm playing the run with 7. Don't have a safety down in there. So I think it's going to be an interesting chess match from that standpoint.
Well, babe, we appreciate you, and congrats on your Heisman quarterback at IU. We will continue to pull for Mr. Mendoza, and we'll be listening to you tonight here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. There he goes, Babe Laughenberg, with us here on your Cowboys pregame show. It's brought to you by United Healthcare. United Healthcare is the proud official healthcare partner of the Dallas Cowboys, bringing you coverage you can count on to Cowboys territory. Learn more at uhc.com. We are 1 hour and 38 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Let's go down to the turf and get the scoop from the best in the business. Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales joins us next right here on The Fan.
Fuel up for game day like a pro with the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Hi, I'm Shelby Volleman, and at Volleman's Family Farm,
official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
It's your Cowboys pregame show live here from AT&T Stadium. Just over 90 minutes to kick off Sunday Night Football with the Vikings in town. Let's go down to the turf and get the scoop from the best in the business, Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales. Christy, happy game day. How you doing?
I am doing great. I'm so excited, guys, because just behind me in the Cowboys bench area would be the defensive side. This is in the suite at field level. The Dirty Dozen are being honored tonight, and they're gathering now pregame. The Dirty Dozen, for those folks who are Cowboy fans under age 45. Back in 1975, when there were 17 rounds in the draft, the Cowboys drafted 19 players in 1975, and 12 of them made the 43-man roster, and that would include the likes of Randy White and Hollywood Henderson and Bob Brunig and Herb Scott, and those guys are being honored tonight, and they're getting together. So I think when I finish with you guys, I may pop in there and see if maybe we can get the Manster and get Brunig and some of these guys to visit with us. So I'm so little Christy is geeking out right now because these were my heroes in elementary school and junior high.
I love it. All right, it's going to be a festive night here at AT&T Stadium. Christy, did you by chance get the opportunity to talk to Jake Ferguson, see how he's feeling after missing practice this week with that calf injury?
Yeah, actually I did, Eric. And the good news tonight is that the two players who were questionable coming in to tonight's game, tight end Jake Ferguson and defensive end Jadeveon Clowney, none of them needed like extra workout tonight with Britt Brown, the director of rehabilitation. They're both guys are going tonight. The player who is missing because of injury is left tackle Tyler Guyton. He'll miss his third straight game with that high ankle injury. But yes, with Jake, okay, I have to confess, it was less about his ankle, and I was just giving him a heads up because tonight with Sunday Night Football, the NBC crew, what they've done is put cameras in each of the 4 giant red Salvation Army kettles in the end zone.
Oh, here we go. We might get a jump in.
Yes, exactly. So I just wanted to tell Jake, it's like, dude, I know you always have something special planned, but you definitely need to be camera ready tonight. So, yeah, so this is the debut this evening of Kettle Cam. Maybe we should call it that. But yes. I also pointed it out. Maris Leofau comes out early. He was doing laps with Justin Barron, who's a practice squad linebacker. I said, Marist, if you have a scoop and score tonight, man, smile pretty. And, I've been telling the coaches, I've been telling the players, man, let's be ready. I haven't talked to Cavante Turpin yet, but Carlos Polk, who's the assistant special teams coordinator, is like, if tonight is the night, you tell Turp to be camera ready. So, but, it's a little bit harder for Turp because the top of that kettle comes about to his chin. But so he's going to have to get some air to go straight into the kettle.
Christy, we do an interview every week with Jake Ferguson on Thursdays about 5.
Oh yeah, I know. It's appointment listening.
If he gets fined, he'll match the fine and give it to the Salvation Army. That's what he said.
I've been telling some folks, I've been telling the coaches here, some of the new guys, that, Jerry was hoping that Ezekiel Elliott would get fined. Remember that first time that Zeke jumped in? And it is a prop. I mean, technically, he should have been fined. And the league did not fine him because they didn't want it to look bad because, it's the Salvation Army. But Jerry was actually very disappointed for the first time in his life that there was no fine issued because Jerry was going to match it and use that opportunity to really raise the recognition, get even more publicity for the Salvation Army. But then if you remember what happened, Brian, organically, which is what made it so special, so many members of Cowboys Nation with Zeke wearing number 21 jersey made those $21 donations that they ended up with a couple $100,000 extra in increments of $21.
How about that? I love it.
I like all the plans that are happening right now.
Well, speaking of plans, Christy, what's the plan at linebacker with Logan Wilson, Kenneth Murray? There's been a lot of talk.
Yeah, we know that the cat's out of the bag, for the past couple days that Wilson's going to start. And what they've been doing was alternating series, I should say, right? Where Kenneth Murray's been starting and Wilson coming in for the second series, and then they pretty much alternate thereafter. I'm told they will come in by series, but it may not be necessarily altering one after the other. So yes, do anticipate Wilson to get more more plays in the game than Murray tonight, because the past few weeks, really Murray, the first week that Wilson was available, Murray played 4 games. The percentages for Murray went 43%, 62%, 55%, 58%. I think that's going to be flipped today, and maybe even a little bit higher on Wilson's ledger.
Christy, you always have a really good handle on who is going to play and who's not going to play. You guess the linebackers. How about what's going on at the cornerback with no Diggs?
Yeah, and he actually got quite a few practice snaps this week, and thought maybe he really was going to play, but with them not designated him for return from injured reserve, so he's not on the roster. So the way they're going to start it is on the outside, Deron Bland and Savone Revel will be on the outside. Reddy Stewart would come in and slide into the slot in nickel situations, but you'll also see Kalen Carson getting some time, because there will be situations in which it'll be Carson and Revel on the outside with Bland sliding in to the nickel. So, that versatility of Deron Bland, look for him in both spots tonight. But if they start, I say who's going to start. It all depends on how the offense comes out, right? But look for Revel and Bland on the outside, Stewart coming in, and then, like I say, they'll switch it up depending on certain situations as we go through the game.
Awesome, Christy. You're the best. We appreciate the time, and we'll catch up with you again next hour.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely. There she goes, Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales here on your Cowboys pregame show. Tonight's game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium is brought to you by Bank of America. Bank of America, what would you like the power to do? Also, make sure you check out the Frito Pie Burger that Legends Hospitality has out here for you tonight. Juicy beef patty topped with chili cheddar cheese, chili cheese Fritos, and pico de gallo on a brioche bun. Absolutely 10 out of 10, as we are now under 90 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium, and we are absolutely loaded. We'll hear from Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer. We'll go into the owner's box with Jerry Jones, and of course more Super Bowl winning analysis from Brian Broaddus next right here on The Fan.
Dallas Cowboys fans know a thing or two about legacy, commitment, and loyalty.
Christy Scales, Eric Chiafalo, and Brian Broaddus. Brought to you by
AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with blockchain.com.
Also brought to you by
Bell Nunnally, behind every great company. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Tyson Foods, get your Tyson Cowboys Star Nuggets available now. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiafalo and Brian Broaddus.
Here we go, under an hour and 20 minutes to kick off Cowboys and Vikings Sunday Night Football here at AT&T Stadium, live on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Great to have you in the official pregame show of America's team. I'm Eric Chiafalo alongside the Super Bowl champion, Brian Broaddus. We're ready to break this bad boy down. How you doing?
Doing excellent, man. Yeah, it's a big one tonight. What are you calling it? Royal Flush?
I'm calling it the Royal Flush.
There you go.
You got the Royal Purple. And we got to flush them down the toilet. This is a must-win game.
It is a must-win game.
As is every game from here on out if the Cowboys want to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah.
And this will be quite the test, especially for the Cowboys offense and this Vikings blitz-heavy defense here as we go ahead and dive into the preview, brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys, also brought to you by SeatGeek. And, I mean, how do we approach it? I'm a little bit queasy just about the idea of this pass rush, because you saw what Detroit was able to do just last week.
Yeah.
Nate Thomas, Terrence Steele.
As the Lions are having struggles in the second half against the Rams, they've gone 3 and out 3 straight times.
Oh, yeah, Rams up 34-24 right now with under 10 minutes to go in that game. And the Cowboys are looking for a Rams win in that game. So that would be good. And we're looking for a Broncos win over the Packers.
That's working out good, too.
Broncos are up 27-23 early in the fourth quarter.
Got injured in this game.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, you have Micah Parsons now going down. That did not look good with the left knee, and that was kind of a non-contact situation. And then you had the Mahomes injury from earlier today, and then all the while you got big Phillip Rivers, Pawpaw, Old Man Rivers, and he's dealing. And the Colts are up 13-12 right now with just under 3 minutes to go versus the Seahawks. So it's been kind of a crazy day of NFL football. But hopefully the Cowboys can get back together. And being at home tonight, I think, is huge.
It is absolutely huge, and especially, and you mentioned it, it's when you look at the Vikings, it's not their defense that's the issue. It's their offense with the quarterback play. We had on earlier with Pete Bersich when he was talking about some of the things that you're going to have to deal with today, that Dak Prescott's going to have to deal with as well when it comes to a Brian Flores defense, where it's from a lot of different looks and a lot of different areas. And just when you kind of feel like, okay, I've got this situated to my right, I think I got it protected. Oh, wait a minute, he's going to bring something from the left side. And so that'll be the challenge. And the great thing about these coaches, when it's a nationally televised game where they're the only game in town, these coaches will come up with, well, hey, let me show you how smart I am today. So I would expect that Brian Flores, he's got to be very mindful, though, of Dak Prescott's ability to play against a blitz look. He's a veteran quarterback. He's got weapons. He's got an offensive line that, for the most part, will keep him upright, but he's going to have to be able to navigate some free rushers tonight. You know what's going to happen. I don't think you completely hold Minnesota's defense in check. You just have to manage the damage when it does happen.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm looking at getting out to a fast start. I know Pete Bersich, as you mentioned, for the Vikings radio team, he's talking about how the Vikings are always playing at a deficit this year. They're never really playing with a lead, which can really allow that defense to flourish and get after the quarterback.
It happened against the Commanders last week.
You saw it last week versus the Commanders for sure, and it's something that they really flourished with last year, playing with a bunch of leads. They were a really good football football team, so they're playing with a lead all the time. The defense can get after the quarterback. Starting fast tonight, getting an early lead, being able to run the football as well. That's my next question. Can we get this rushing attack going? It's been a while since we felt great about Javonte Williams and this Cowboys rushing attack.
Yeah, Bobby Belt was on earlier with us and talking about how he felt like that they could run the ball at Jonathan Allen. This is a team on defense that leads the league in run stuffs. That's at the line of scrimmage or a negative play. I kind of thought initially it was because they're so blitz heavy on first and second down that maybe they'll run themselves into some stunts that will cause some problems. But the more you kind of dig in, the more they're pretty good at this run defense stuff. 4.2 yards per carry. That's just slightly above the league. When you start to talk about successful runs, they're kind of right in that mode right now. They got really good linebacker play. We've talked about Andrew Van Ginkel. We've talked about Eric Wilson a little bit. These guys they don't come off the field. They're able to kind of play at a way where they're good cover guys, they're good run defenders, they're safeties. Harrison Smith, a longtime veteran guy, Joshua Metellus, these safeties, veteran guys that kind of know how to play around the line, know how to tackle well. And that makes it a little bit difficult to try and run the ball on these guys with any types of success.
Yeah, and the Cowboys being able to punch it in the red zone. We talk about it often, but the Vikings red zone
are really
defense,
good,
third in the league at keeping teams out of the end zone once they get into the red zone. So you can't be settling for the field goals. We don't need this to be a big-time Brandon Aubrey game unless it's a walk-off at the end to go ahead and win this thing. Good news is you do have Jake Ferguson, who was dealing with the calf issue throughout practice this week. He is going to be in the game, and Clowney as well, who we greatly missed last week in Detroit.
Yeah.
It'll be great to have Clowney back defensively, but you got to have a bounce back game, especially for some guys on offense. You mentioned Jake Ferguson's one of those guys with the fumbles. Nate Thomas needs a big-time bounce-back game, George Pickens, and then the run game in general. Like, this has to be a bounce-back performance at home Sunday Night Football. Let's go get this thing done.
Yeah, you mentioned all those guys, and I expect that the guys will play well, but Minnesota is going to limit you in some of the things you can do. And I'll be interested to see how they try and do they determine that they're going to try and take Pickens out of the game. You saw last week what Detroit did with a little bit more of the bracket coverage, buzzing linebackers into the flat. We've talked about how the Minnesota linebackers are kind of an athletic group, and they're able to play as rushers. They're able to play in coverage.
The versatility is crazy.
Yeah,
with this defense.
It is going to be. You talk about bounce back, and it's not like you're playing. It's not like you're playing
Commanders or Bengals.
Exactly. You're playing a team that really is not going to be very. That they are not going to allow you to bounce back. This is going to have to be This is going to be a fight offensively for the Cowboys tonight. If they're going to win this game, it's going to be about them having to kind of manage all this stuff. I think that's really the most important thing. I think things with J.J. McCarthy, you could do some things against him and be okay. It's this defense that gives me the shakes.
Yeah, I get that, man. And speaking of J.J. McCarthy, he's been so much better on script as opposed to off script. Like the Vikings' first two possessions of games, he has a drop back success rate of 50%, completion percentage of almost 72%, averaging over 8 yards per pass attempt. And then all the other possessions, he goes from 50% success rate to 36%. He goes from over 70% completion to just over 50% completion percentage. He goes from over 8 yards per attempt to under 6 yards per attempt.
Well,
so
he struggles with open receivers. He is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, and you hope that stays to form tonight.
If you pressure this guy,
but
his off-target throws are through the roof.
Dak is one of the best when it comes to open receiver throws. J.J. McCarthy is the least or the last when it comes to that.
Yeah, and one of the telltale signs of that is just seeing the lack of production from Justin Jefferson, who hasn't lost any talent or skill, still absolutely in the conversation for
He's
being
lost
the
a
best.
quarterback that could get him the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he's still like the best receiver in the league, and he hasn't scored a touchdown since November 2nd. He has 2 touchdowns all season long after being a double-digit touchdown kind of guy, and I have to imagine the frustrations are super high, but if you can get after McCarthy and rattle him, and this Vikings offensive line has dealt with so much shuffling and injuries and things like that, he'll hold on to the ball for a long time, and having Clowney back, like, your defensive line has to be able to own the line of scrimmage tonight and really get after him. We thought they were going to do that versus Detroit, and they didn't do it.
No.
Hopefully having Clowney back is big. You get some extra days of rest as well, and you're going to need that front four to really get after him tonight.
Yeah, you're going to need to find a way to keep them behind the chains as much as you can and make him have to play under pressure.
Yeah, and I don't know. Are you doing the bracket stuff with Justin Jefferson? Are you treating him just like the prolific receiver that we know him to be, or are you focused more on, hey, let's suffocate this rushing attack from the Vikings and the rest will take care of itself?
I think I would worry about playing against. I think what Minnesota would like to do would be run the ball with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. So I think you have to be, like I said, Dallas's offense is really going to dictate how comfortable Minnesota's offense will feel.
Sure.
You know, if all of a sudden Dallas is trading punts and, 3 and outs and all that, and really you're putting no pressure on McCarthy to have to make throws, that's a dangerous game to play tonight. So I think if Dallas comes out, finds a couple of series, maybe you get a situation where it's 14-0 or, it's 10-3 or something like that. You could kind of just maybe put a little pressure on Minnesota's offense to get out of that running game and make J.J. McCarthy have to beat you throwing the ball, which has been problematic for them this year.
Yeah, starting fast, I think, is extremely important tonight if you want to make it a little bit easier on yourself and really dictate the flow of the game there. Right. And one of the other things to point out, too, is we know Aaron Jones has punished the Cowboys each and every time he comes to AT&T Stadium. Now, it's usually been in a Packers uniform.
Right.
Now he's rocking that Vikings purple. But him out of the backfield, you saw what Jahmyr Gibbs was able to do. You saw what plenty of running backs all season have been able to do, where it's just in the flat, 5 yards down the field, making guys miss. That is one area where I think Aaron Jones still does scare me.
Yeah, and that's a simple pass, too. That's a really simple pass.
That's an easy money for McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, swing passes. If Dallas is tonight, it shows again that they. And if I'm Minnesota, I attack in space on the outside. It's the swing passes, the screen passes. If Dallas proves again that they can't defend those, that's easy yards for J.J. McCarthy.
Overshown and Logan Wilson, who looks like he's getting a start tonight in place of Kenneth Murray.
You need a really nice game tonight from Overshown. I think expectations for Overshown, me personally, were like, hey, he's going to come right back. The knee and all that, everything's cool. Put him back in the lineup. He's yet to have one of those games where you go, gosh, he was special tonight.
Well, speaking of special tonight here at AT&T Stadium, we have the old Dirty Dozen crew.
Yes.
How exciting
from my
is
era.
that?
Yeah, from my era.
Your era of football. And I believe we have our very own Christy Scales, Cowboys sideline reporter here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, standing by with Randy White, a part of that Cowboys Dirty Dozen. Christy, take it away.
Well, guys, what a special treat to speak to Hall of Famer, the Manster, and the headliner of the Dirty Dozen draft class of 1975, Randy White. Randy, what a special evening. Tell us what's going on with your group, a Dirty Dozen.
Well, this is a wonderful evening for this reunion of the Dirty Dozen. I haven't seen these guys in years, and we're having a chance to get together and talk about old times and what we did when we were rookies and the Super Bowls we went to. It's just been a great night.
Hard to believe it's been 50 years since 12 rookies made from the 75 draft class made the team. But I think that younger fans have no idea that back in the day there were 17 rounds of the NFL draft. There were, 45 players on the roster, and just how unusual it would be that 12 rookies would crack a really stacked roster of teams that, other than the 1974 season, I mean, the NFC Championship games and Super Bowls were common.
Well, I don't know that there's ever been another draft with 12 rookies made any team since that draft. And not only did we make all those guys make that draft, but we all got to go. We played in 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. I mean, so it wasn't just a class that was drafted by 12. Each guy had his contribution to the team to make it better. And it was a great experience back then, and it's great to see these guys again now.
Now, as the first-round pick, obviously great things were expected of you, but was it intimidating to walk in, even though you had guys with you, 11 others that would make it from your class? What do you remember about the first time you walked in and saw some of these great veterans like Roger Staubach and Leroy and all those great guys?
Well, it's kind of humbling when you go in there and you're in the same locker room with Leroy Jordan and Roger Staubach and but what you can do as a player, you can go out there and you can play and give it the best you can every day and try to be the best you can because, they drafted me number 1, the second guy picked in the draft, and I felt like I owed it to them and to myself to do something. And my first couple of years were a little tough.
Yeah, because they had you at linebacker, right, for a bit?
They wanted me to be a middle linebacker, but I ended up moving to defensive tackle, so it was all good. It all worked out.
It all worked out, and thanks so much. The fans will have a chance to cheer you guys on early in the first quarter. Thanks for taking time, Randy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Wow, what great moments down here on the sideline with the Dirty Dozen draft class of 1975, 50-year anniversary. And guys, throw it back up to you.
Thank you so much, Christy. How about that? Randy White, total legend.
Yeah.
It's going to be a party here. They get to be honored here at AT&T Stadium. The fans are going to go nuts.
It is. It is so. This was 20 years of me going to Cowboy games was a lot because of that group right there with the Dirty Dozen. Randy White, if you remember, well, I know you wouldn't remember, but he played as like a defensive tackle, almost like a 3 technique. But he played like off the line. He played like a flex position. So like he was a yard off the ball, and Landry came crazy. Yeah, Landry came up. Tom Landry and that crew came up with some really creative ways of using personnel. You remember the Landry shift?
Oh yeah.
The shotgun. I mean, there's a lot of things that the Cowboys did, but Randy White was such a dominant player. He was like Aaron Donald of that era, like big, fast, strong, disruptive,
all world.
Oh, tackle your quarterback around the head. He was that guy.
That's my kind of guy.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you to Christy Scales. Maybe we will get some more of the Dirty Dozen all throughout the final hour of the pregame show, as we are now just over 60 minutes to kick off Sunday Night Football. Cowboys and Vikings. Let's get you the Coach's Corner. Voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, standing by with Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer. That's coming up next. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Miller Lite, the legendary light beer. The original. Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Cowboys and Vikings kick off in 56 minutes here at AT&T Stadium. We'll go into the owner's box here shortly, but right now it's time for tonight's Coach's Corner. Voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, standing by with Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer.
Fellas, thanks very much. The Cowboys are playing on Sunday for the second time since the middle of October. That's unbelievable. And next week, they'll play on Sunday afternoon, but we'll save that for next week. But, Brian, I'm kind of curious about how you felt you put to use the opportunity for a second reset. That's the great thing about the mini-bye, which it comes a week later when you play the Thursday after Thanksgiving, but you had it, and your players are talking like that was a really useful extra few days. You mentioned spending a little extra time watching tape. And so do you think as a staff you did like a second mini reset with that extra time?
Yeah, again, there was a time for our players to get away and get their bodies back and, just kind of recharge their battery a little bit. I think that's important. And for us, we were able to do a little 4-game self-scout, where we could look back at the Raiders, Eagles, Chiefs, and Lions game and just find trends and find things that we needed to clean up or things that quite honestly, Brad, we were doing well and that we needed to maybe do more of. So very, very useful and hopefully setting us up to have a great last quarter of the season.
I'm not trying to give you a reason to make an excuse. I'm asking for reasons. The Detroit game, even given the quality of the opponent, was a bit of an anomaly compared to the 3 that preceded it, especially on defense. And some of us might think, you can say that you're ready to play your 4th game in 17 days, but that's just not a normal thing. Is there anything, do you think that was, Clayton talked about this week about last 5%, not finishing blocks, that kind of thing. Is any kind of fatigue a part of what you saw in Detroit?
Yeah, again, I will say this. I think we didn't play to our standard in every regard from an execution, take care of the football, and quite honestly, the way we ran to the ball wasn't to our standard. And so it is what it is. The schedule is what it is. We don't get to control it. We don't get to control whether we play on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays. It doesn't matter. We don't control that. What we do control is our ability to go out and perform. And I believe that this team will respond. I do think that, like I said, we didn't have our best game. We didn't, play as physical or run the way that we have over the last, 4 or 5 weeks of the season. And I think that's going to bounce back and show up tonight.
Running to the ball makes me think about you are not the first coach to talk about the importance of the takeaway ratio and differential, and it hasn't been good, and it hasn't been your standard. You've said that from the very beginning, but there's not a coach who doesn't say, run to the ball and take it away and protect the ball. And so what's the secret, especially when you're 2/3 of the way through a season, in changing how that has trended for you?
Yeah, well, it starts with fundamentals. We have a meeting every Thursday where we show guys basically examples of, hey, these are good examples of us taking care of the ball. These are examples where the ball is loose. Same thing conversely on defense. Hey, these are chances where it's a good punch or a chance where, hey, we probably could have had more of a punch or more of a rip this situation. At the end of the day, our fundamentals are not where they need to be offensively. What do I mean by that? It means that if I'm carrying the football and I'm running to the right, you got to get the ball in your right arm because my left arm now can be used as a weapon. It can shield the defender and things like that. But there's also a thing called running in traffic where you have to protect and basically we call it locking the ball in place where you pin the ball against your chest. And quite honestly, we've just not been very good at that. And so that starts with us as a coaching staff, drilling the fundamentals, cleaning those things up, pointing the ball up. Because, again, the number one thing in our football mantra is, again, you got to win the turnover battle. Brad, we went through 4 games on offense in a row where we didn't have any turnovers. We can do it, but we have to do it. And then on defense, again, we expect a lot from our guys, but they, momentum changing plays. You think about the Philadelphia game, and the fumble Sam Williams creates, and Elijah Clark, and you were there. The energy that happens from that is so important.
everyone in the known football world has asked you about Trayvon Diggs, so why should I be any different? People would like to see him if he's going to be seen, and a lot of people wonder if he's going to be seen. What's his status?
Yeah, again, Trey's working his way back through this ramp-up period. Again, I think what people need to understand is, when you don't play football for a couple weeks, you don't forget how to play, but the movement qualities and things you have to do, get out there running around, communicating with, you're not out there by yourself, right? You're not a golfer. You're out there playing with 10 other guys. And so for me, he's no different than anybody else. I don't think we've ever had anybody come back the first week of a ramp-up period. And so Trayvon's got to continue to do what he's been doing, which is have a good week of prep, be great in the meetings. And if he does that, I think we know the type of player and impact that he can have on our team.
I am curious about I'll call it a rotation. That's really kind of a misnomer, but Carson was playing for a couple of games. It seems like you have been kind of finding the rotation, I'll use that word again, that you want at cornerback, which also makes me curious about the middle linebacker position and how that will evolve. Let's talk about corners first. Is that kind of a week-to-week thing about who's going to get the most snaps?
Yeah, as you recall, early in the season we said help's on the way, right? And we knew we had more bodies coming back, and so that's part of the process. But again, I think we all know the type of player Deron Bland is. Again, and his capability of going out there and doing what he needs to do to shut people down. Here's a guy, Mr. Takeaway, whatever you want to call him. He's due, and it's going to happen. But I think we all see the talent and the work ethic of a guy like Revel, who we're really excited about. When he plays man to man and can put hands on people, he's really good. Kalen's another young player. Of course, you add Trayvon into the mix, but at the end of the day, we need to play better on defense, and that's all 11 guys. But it has been a little bit of a rotating door, and that's because we're trying to find the best rotation to get everybody involved to play well.
I'll get back to the middle linebacker in a minute, but as I'm listening to you talk about the cornerbacks, the club is recognizing the 50th anniversary of the Dirty Dozen team at the game tonight. And in those days, pretty much you had to you could get away with an average secondary if you had a good enough rush, which this team did. So you kind of rushed so that you could cover. And has the script not flipped completely? As fast as quarterbacks get rid of the ball, as many spread offenses, do you not have to cover now well enough so that you can have time to rush?
Well, I still think it starts up front. I mean, you're always going to talk about how you can affect the passer with the defensive line, and there's different ways to do that. And quite honestly, going back to the Detroit game, I thought early on we did a great job getting after Jared, and he looked very, he looked a little bit unsettled. Certainly he settled in as the game went on, but I think the biggest thing for us, Brad, is we got to play tighter coverage, and it doesn't mean you're just playing all press man to man. There's ways to play tight coverage from a couple yards off and cover two and things like that, but we have to play tighter coverage because you have to make quarterbacks work. And it doesn't matter how good the pass rush is when you're playing a veteran quarterback that knows how to, okay, I know the problems, I know that's a soft zone or whatever it is. So that's a big thing that we're going to try to emphasize over these next couple weeks.
Middle linebacker, is the rotation going to change at all? Are you stay steady on that course between Murray and Wilson? And how is Wilson progressing at what must be a very difficult job to learn a new language and then be able to teach it to everybody he's got to put in position?
Yeah, when we went out and got Logan, it was all about kind of making the linebacker room better and just adding depth, and both those guys have done a nice job with doing that. I think you'll see Logan get the start tonight. Why is that? I think just, again, he sees things really well. He's a really good communicator. K9's going to play. Both those guys have attributes that we really, really like. K9's so physical in the way he runs the ball, plays with violence. We love that. But again, we need to get more consistent play out of our entire defense, and the linebackers get a lot of attention because they're right at the center of the defense, and they get they're noticed a lot because there's a lot of cameras on them.
Ferguson spent more time on the side working with the trainers than he did on the field this week, so I'll ask you about his status, and it'll give me an opportunity to invite you to talk about one of my favorite players on this team, Brevin Spann-Ford, because I think he's like a star waiting for a place to shine.
Yeah, Fergie will be a game-time decision. We've been smart and dealing with a little bit of a calf, but hopefully all goes well. And then, again, he's one of my favorites, too. Of course, we're talking about Brev, and the play style jumps off the film. This guy plays with violence. This guy just finishes his blocks. You were talking earlier about Clayton and, finishing the last 5%. This guy only knows one way. And, man, it's really cool to see him develop as a pass catcher. And I think Lunda Wells done a really good job developing that room. And at the end of the day, I love the direction of Brev and also Scooney, and it's a really good tight end room that we have.
Last one, left tackle, Guyton's another one who's been out, and if Nate Thomas needed a reset, he's had a chance to do that too. Talk about those two guys.
Yeah, again, Geit's going through the process, trying to get back. It's situation sometimes takes a little longer, especially when you're dealing with 320-pound plus men. And again, playing tackle in this league is a very humbling thing. You go out and next thing you know, you play great and everybody's applauding you. And then the next week you go out and you get beat and you give up some sacks and, man, this guy's terrible. That's not the case. Nate's a young player. He's very, very talented. Some things we need to clean up with him from a technique standpoint, using his hands better, staying square in pass protection. But again, I bet on Nate. I know the type of young man he is. I know how important this is to him, and I think he'll play well.
All right. Have fun tonight. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay. Fellas, back to you.
Thank you, Brad Sham. Tonight's Coach's Corner brought to you by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys, and it is a very special night here at AT&T Stadium honoring the Cowboys Dirty Dozen, and I believe we have Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales standing by with another Cowboys legend, Thomas Hollywood Henderson. Christy, take it away.
Guys, tonight as the Cowboys celebrate the 50-year anniversary of the Dirty Dozen draft class of 1975, Thomas Hollywood Henderson, one of our all-time most popular Cowboys, and my personal favorite, one of them growing up. What a thrill to visit with you, Hollywood, and tell us about tonight and catching up with your rookie teammates from 50 years ago.
It's been very interesting. We've been eating together and visiting with each other. It's nice. Cowboys having us back. We got Raleigh Woolsey and Bob Brunig and Randy White and Hollywood Henderson. It's fun.
Just the linebackers right there. What was it? Was there something in the Gatorade back then? What was it that you guys all arriving at the same time that made it such a special class?
It was a draft, a dream draft. And we got into training camp and was beating each other up and saying who was best at what, and a lot of competition. But it was, Tom Landry drafted 12 rookies, and they all made that team. And we went to the Super Bowl. We didn't win, but we would win 2 years later. But we had a chemistry and players and athletes and just terrific people.
Did you have, back in 1975, as great as your rookie draft class was, but did you personally have a welcome to the NFL moment? And if so, what was it that you can share?
No, not really. I was surprised that I was excelling so much. I wasn't smart enough yet to get Tom Landry's flex defense. It would take me another year or so to understand what he wanted. At Langston University, they just let me do whatever I wanted. And Tom Landry didn't let me do whatever I wanted. And so when I finally became a starter, I understood his defense. I studied his defense, and I played his defense. And I made the Pro Bowl playing his defense. So he was right, I was wrong.
But you're okay with that. I think
Yes.
it turned out all right.
Yes.
Thank you for taking time to visit, and I know that the fans here at AT&T Stadium, all 93,000, are going to have a chance to acknowledge you guys early in the first quarter by cheering you guys on, and you'll be on the big video board. So we'll be cheering along with them. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thomas. That's Thomas Hollywood Henderson, and oh man, great festivities. Again, little Christy is geeking out right now. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Christy. A fun night here at AT&T Stadium, getting you set for Cowboys and Vikings. And it's time to go into the owner's box as we are now 42 minutes to kickoff. And we'll hear from Jerry Jones coming up next. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at Take 5 Oil Change. Just wear your Cowboys gear and save 25% on your oil change. No huddle, no overtime. Just drive in, stay in your car, and roll out. You'll be tailgate ready in 10 minutes flat. Keeping up with your car shouldn't be a tough call.
like your icons with blockchain.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Here's Eric Giafalo and Brian Broaddus.
All right, we're 37 minutes to kick off here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Great to have you in the official pregame show of America's team, Cowboys and Vikings Sunday Night Football. Let's go into the owner's box with Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones.
All right, guys. Jerry, before we talk X's and O's, I have something for you as a showman and someone who understands the entertainment aspect. The NBC Sunday Night Football crew has put cameras inside the red Salvation Army kettles. So I think this is the first time we're going to have kettle cam. So I'm wondering if you think it's Jake Ferguson or maybe George Pickens or CD. Who do you think is going to be first to be shown with a kettle cam?
If our game plan goes right, Avante Williams hopefully will jump in there 2 or 3 times tonight.
I love that.
I hope we're running on them.
So I tell you what, this is going to be a real matchup, is it not, of wits between Brian Schottenheimer as a play caller and Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator of the Vikings, who blitzes more than any other team in the league. And did you see this as more of a chess match than some other games?
Well, of course, both, in my mind, really know the game. And it is that. I'm counting on Dak really being able to execute and use his advantage, his, if you will, all of his experience to basically set it up before the ball is snapped. And then I'm counting on our guys winning the battle inside, especially on offensive line. We got beat pretty good last week. Can change, and it can change right here. We really respect their defense. If you see us moving that line of scrimmage, then things are going to be good for us.
In terms of them giving enough time for Dak to pass downfield, what are you expecting from George Pickens tonight? It wasn't his best game last week. He's been so phenomenal all year. Do you think a little extra motivation for George tonight?
Well, he had a phenomenal practice week. So candidly, I'm not in the school that thought that made much of, other than the fact that we didn't win the football game. But I don't think that I'm as matter of fact about George not playing up to that level as maybe others are. He's too good a player. He's too good a weapon for us. All of our guys have got to hold on to the ball tonight. And that's not just said because it's after him. It's we've got to do it with Fergie. We've got to do it really with our backs. Be conscious about holding on to that ball and be conscious about extending the play with your block.
Well, let's flip it to the other side, because takeaways, there may be opportunities tonight. The Vikings and their young quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, have thrown the most interceptions in the league this year. Could this be a big night for Deron Bland and Revel, your rookie corner?
Well, we certainly have got to put some heat, or we've got to put some extra pressure on the quarterback to put him in those kind of situations. And if we can do that, we could have a good night there. But again, I know this is easy for everybody to say, but it's amazing the last few games how we've not had those turnovers. And it's hard to win them when you don't get those. So hopefully you'll see that tonight as well.
Is there still hope that next week that Trayvon Diggs may be ramped up, that he would be able to play any of these final 3 games?
We're just watching his health.
Appreciate it, Jerry. That's the view from the owner's box as we continue counting down to Vikings-Cowboys kickoff. Let's rejoin Brian and Eric.
Thank you, Christy. Tonight's owner's box brought to you by Yeti, the official cooler of the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. And now it's time for the Brian Broaddus Zebra Report, brought to you by Aero Exterminators, the official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Broaddus, what are we in store for tonight?
Yes, thank you very much, Eric. Scott Novak, a former Big 12 official. As a matter of fact, Scott Novak has the distinction. You know what number he wears as an official?
Let's go with Deuce.
He wears number 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's Scott Novak. He calls
is
game.
him.
He is him, is Scott Novak, yes. What's funny about Scott Novak is he has been more his crew has been harder on home teams than they have on the visiting team. So need to kind of keep an eye on that. He's kind of mid-pack when you look at the number of calls, but his main calls are the offensive holding calls. That would be number one with his crew. That's 21 against the away, 17 against the homes. We have defensive pass interference. That's the next biggest thing that his crew is called. Defensive holding, defensive offsides, illegal formation. This is one of those things where, again, you get in games and you're trying to kind of cheat. How far back do you line up if you're an offensive tackle? Is your head in the middle of the guy's body next to you? So, Scott Novak and his crew, they're one of these, they'll probably warn you one time, and then the next time they'll call the flag. So be careful of the illegal formation, delay of game, illegal contact, and then intentional grounding is one. Scott Novak is he's not a big roughing the passer guy, so you'll see some quarterbacks take some hits with him.
There you go.
But he'll get you for the intentional grounding.
Okay.
So have to be ready for that.
I love it. All right, there it is. Your Zebra Report brought to you by Brian Broaddus here on your Cowboys pregame show. And one of the things that stood out last week versus Detroit, Broaddus, was the special teams fiasco.
Yes.
I mean, you have the Turpin fake fair catch stuff.
Happened a couple times, huh?
Getting out of hand 2
Yeah.
weeks in a row. And then the coverage units were awful. Yeah. Absolutely awful. And Turpin was actually quoted this week on the fair catches. He says, I'm just trying to be aggressive. I don't have too many punt returns, so I'm just back there trying to be aggressive, trying to get something started. I'm just going to stop and do what needs to be done. So hopefully we don't see the fair catch penalty at all tonight. But in regards to the kickoff returns and trying to get better returns for Turpin, he says the blocking technique is not going right the way that we want it to. We need to start holding people like they're holding us on kickoffs. That's what I feel like. That's a lot of what we did last year. I just feel like we get back to that. We just start holding like they're holding us on kickoff. I feel like things will be all right. So his fix for him getting better kickoff returns is for holding.
Haven't we seen enough holding, though, this year from our...
Yeah,
do you have by the way, and do you have the inactive list? Because I was interested to see if there's anybody on the inactive list. We've talked about during the week that maybe that Coach Sorensen was going to make some changes with the personnel group, and I wonder if he's done anything that's put some guys on or off the list this week.
You have your inactives are going to be Jalen Tolbert, Jaden Blue, Tyler Guyton, Perrion Winfrey, and Jay Toia.
So nothing there.
Doesn't seem like
nothing there. So yeah, you're likely going to be having. Now it's just going to be a better job of. To me, listen, better off kicking the ball out. Especially, you could be you could maybe say, well, this week, you got a quarterback that's not as comfortable. See if you could pin him down and make them have to drive. Last week, man, what a disaster with a veteran quarterback giving him the ball at midfield.
Yeah, that was a beating. Can't have that happen tonight. Cowboys and Vikings here at AT&T Stadium. 29 minutes to kick off. Let's go inside the booth with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. That's coming up next. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Cowboys fans, we've got big news. Black Rifle Energy is now... Hello, baby. KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
Here we go, 22 minutes to kick off Sunday Night Football. Cowboys and Vikings here at AT&T Stadium. Let's chit-chat with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, brought to you by the WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly,
Would
Brad.
you rather do the segment with Gavin Spittle, our boss, since it's his birthday?
It is his birthday. We could get him, we could sing to him. He could do that special birthday dance he likes
Gavin,
to do.
do you want to do the segment since it's your birthday? He said no.
He's shaking his head.
But we wanted to give him the opportunity.
I get to ask you this question one time a year. Give me your Heisman ballot. Brad Sham, if you didn't know, is a Heisman voter.
Wow. How long you been doing that?
A while.
Yeah?
A while.
Yeah. So,
I mean, more than 25 years.
Man, that's cool.
Mendoza.
Okay.
Love, the running back from Notre Dame.
Okay.
And Rodriguez, the linebacker from Texas Tech.
Look at you.
I absolutely detest. Well, first of all, after I saw the Vanderbilt quarterback's tweet this morning, I wanted to tweet him back and say, "You're welcome," which I didn't do. But I detest that it's a quarterback award. There are other quarterback awards, and love. But look, you know this, and I go out of my way to talk to scouts.
Yeah.
The best football player might be an offensive lineman.
Right.
I think it was Jalen Carter. His year, I voted him number one.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a center or a guard. It could easily be somebody like Rodriguez at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I mean, there are now the best player is probably Smith, the wide receiver at Ohio State.
Right.
But he didn't have the season commensurate with. But, hey, look, I don't know. Maybe that quarterback at Ohio State is going to be the next, whatever.
Right.
But if he wasn't the quarterback at Ohio State, he would not be invited to New York, and he wouldn't be that high on the list. He just wouldn't. And I saw other votes online today from some of my friends who work in other conferences. And and I didn't vote for Rodriguez because he plays at Tech. He
plays well.
Does he remind you at all? Did I say this to you in a text? I'm not saying he's this guy, and I don't know where he'll go in the draft. I just look at him and I see a little Dat Wynn. A little bit.
Wow.
I think he's bigger than Dat.
He is a little bit bigger, a little stouter.
Not a lot.
Not a lot. But
I look at
the
him,
instincts,
and I just see the way he plays around the ball, what he sees. I see a little bit of Dat Wynn in there.
Yeah.
So that was my ballot.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate
thank you.
That is really cool. That is really cool.
It's fun to do.
I was so excited because I knew I was going to get to ask him that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you have predicted that would be my ballot?
No, I wouldn't, because there's two people that I know that are voters, you and Ty Detmer, the quarterback from BYU.
Yes.
So every year I get to ask him who they vote.
Yeah.
I'd love to vote for the Heisman Trophy.
When I saw Jeremiah Love early in the year.
Oh yeah, he's legit.
And you and I have mutual friends who are like your best friends in the world who went to Notre Dame.
Right.
And I texted them about sometime in September. I said, "Who is that?
Who is that?" Yeah.
And pass one over here, please.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
And by the way, a year from now, let me just put in a plug. A year from now, not for the Heisman, but the running back at Missouri who just led the SEC in rushing, if they want to get him up here, that would be fine.
Yeah, there's plenty of good backs to go around right now. Let's go ahead and get us one here. Actually, probably a good place to start tonight. Can we get this rushing attack going tonight?
You know what was it? Well, yes, it would be good to do that. Now, we understand what kind of a defense we're talking about.
Right.
Here.
Yes.
This is really, and the statistics may not back it up because there are other teams with gaudier statistics. But we've heard it all week, Eric, about Brian Flores and the scheme he runs. And there are some really good players on their defense. And I believe that the defense is one of those, a whole is greater than the sum of the parts, because I don't know if they have the 11 best players, but they may have the best team. And they're
very coordinated.
Along the lines of what Babe was talking to you about earlier.
Right.
They really play well. That having been said, this is kind of going to be a battle of wills. One of the most significant things I heard during the week was the players talking about how they just, in retrospect, they didn't know it at the time going in, but in retrospect, I thought maybe they weren't quite as sharp in Detroit. Maybe they weren't on it. And that's why I asked Schottenheimer, and it's not an excuse. Sometimes a reason sounds like an excuse, but it's not. It's a reason. When you've played 4 games in 17 days, that fourth one, you might not be quite as sharp. You might have not quite the juice. And the number of players who said that through the week, we didn't have the juice, we weren't quite. So when you ask that question, I think of, okay, how long are these linemen going to be able to sustain their blocks? How long, when the scheme calls for it, how quickly and accurately are they going to be able to get to the second level and create some running space? So that will be the key to that. They will certainly not try.
Right.
And I just think they'll run it better than they did, because I think they'll be fresher, and I think they're really motivated. I just think they want to play better. And here's what I am looking at going in. This game is going to be the beginning of telling us whether last week was a 4 games in 17 days anomaly, or whether it was a reversion to what happened before, to what they showed before November 17th. Because that was not the team, even though they gave up some yards to Philadelphia and Kansas City, that was not the same team that played those games. And so if they, in fact, are better, and to the extent that many of us think they are, then we'll begin to see it tonight. Doesn't mean they'll kick them back, over the moon, but I think if it's true, we'll begin to see it tonight.
Are you as tickled by the name Van Ginkel as I am?
I was tickled by the name Van Ginkel when we saw him in Miami a couple years ago, and I had never heard of him. And I saw that, and I'm looking at my sheet as I'm watching the tape, and with Van Ginkel. What is he, the treasurer? Is he the accountant? Oh, no, he's the guy that's going to break that guy in half.
Yeah.
He's a really good player. And he, by the way, is a great example of what I was just saying about the whole being greater than the sum of the parts. If you line up 10 guys who play his position, he might be, Brian, 7 or 8?
Yeah.
Just in terms of the player. But when you ask him to do what they ask him to do,
he's top 3.
He moves way up. He's really, he's a really good player. The same thing with the other linebackers, 55 and 51. Really good players, and they're productive in their system.
No doubt about it. Well, we'll be looking forward to the game tonight, and we'll be listening. Looking forward to that.
Thank you very much. Nice to have you boys up here in the warm.
Heck yeah. Thanks for the hospitality.
You bet.
There
Drop by anytime.
All right. Voice of the Cowboys and the Heisman voting, Brad Sham, heads down to his broadcast position, and we look forward to listening to him all throughout the night. Now it's time to throw it onto the turf and welcome in the best in the business, Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales, for her keys to the game. Brought to you by Pollock Aurora, proud supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Christy, what's your key tonight?
I like what Brad said about finishing blocks and the way that Clayton Adams, Cowboys offensive coordinator, described it as the final 5% of a play, right? So, in Detroit, they didn't see the urgency in finishing those blocks. And finishing blocks could be the difference between a 3-yard run becoming an 8-yard run, or a tackle for a 2-yard loss becoming a 3-yard gain. So I think that the players on offense have been challenged this week to play with more urgency and explosiveness and finish those blocks. And then I think defensively the key, and Brian Schottenheimer talked about it to the media this week, is playing tighter coverage, right? Certainly going to need it, even though the Justin Jeffersons of the world, the Jordan Addisons, don't have the numbers this year, as the Vikings quarterbacks have struggled mightily this year, as there's been so much flux in the offensive line with injuries for the Vikings. But tighter coverage, pressure tonight, and we know that the Vikings are generous when it comes to giving the ball away, throwing more interceptions than any other team in the league, 19. So this could be a night, if the Cowboys front 7 are able to get some pressure, that the defensive backfield can feast. And I know that some fans were hoping that Trayvon Diggs would be available this week. He's not. He was not designated to return from injured reserve. So guys, defensively tonight at cornerback, look for Deron Bland and rookie Savone Revel to start on the outside, with Reddy Stewart coming in and the nickel in the slot. But you'll also see some situations where Bland moves into the slot and Kalen Carson gets some work outside along with Revel.
I love it, Christy. Thanks so much. Enjoy the game. We'll be listening.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales brought us. I'm going Cowboys victory 26-20.
You know, I tell you what, I think you're right in the right ballpark. I think this is going to be maybe a little bit lower scoring game. I'm going to go with Dallas 23, and I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings 16.
There you go. Cowboys get it done. Must-win opportunity tonight here at AT&T Stadium. Kickoff is around the corner with Brad, Babe, and Christy. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Welcome back to You Did a Thing, the only game show that rewards tiny victories with the new Frosted Berry Whataburger from Whataburger. Today's contestant is being challenged to spell his niece's name. He's writing to Haley on the gift, and he spelled it with an E-I-G